give a about your authority. Open your eyes to a new world which you never knew existed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Week in Review podcast. And what a week it has been. You know, before we went live, I was thinking, because I start, for those, I mean, most of you guys watch me on Badlands and Badlands Daily, and I start that show with Good Morning Badlandia. And I'm thinking maybe I should, kind of do a Good Morning Canconia or Canconia. Somebody had brought that up last week. And I started thinking about it, and I said, you know what? Badlands and, Burning Bright specifically have kind of coined the term sovereign alliance, and perhaps it's time that we have Badlandia in a alliance with Canconia. I like Canconia. So we got to develop the sovereign alliance here between Badlandia and Canconia. So we would be more the Greenland in this operation because we're only 23.6 thousand followers and Badlands is well over 200,000. So they are the United States in this proverbial sovereign alliance between Canconia and Badlandia. And sounds like Stanconia. And by the way, Jackie, good to see you in the chat there. Time to make chocolate croissant sourdough loaf. Man, Shipwreck has got you guys all in on this sourdough stuff, and Christy's doing it as well. And she had one that did not go so well, and she's like, I'm going to make cookies out of it. And I was like, I'm down. I love sourdough and I love cookies. Never thought about putting them together, but let's do it. So we'll see if she follows through with that or not. But it's good to see you guys. This has been a hell of a week, man. It's been, I don't want to turn this show into a gossip corner, but the attacks, they're not, I don't want to call them attacks. I might save this for the end. I'm going to save this for the end. I do want to get into the show right off the rip. I will at some point talk about my sponsors for the show. All the links are down below if you guys want to support me and support this program. I've got mypillow.com, promo code CannCon if you're buying anything there, softdisclosure.com, promo code CannCon. If you watch exclusively here, if you watch at Badlands, still use the Badlands code, unless, you followed. If you got into Badlands because of me, then go ahead and use CannCon. But if you followed me after I was on Badlands, then use Badlands. All of it, no matter what, even if you use CannCon, it's still going to benefit, obviously, Soft Disclosure and Badlands, but it's still also going to benefit Badlands hosts as well. So, but the CannCon benefits us a little bit as well. So, Soft Disclosure, fantastic products. Their beard oils are fantastic. Their lotions are amazing. It's just great company, and a lot of America First businesses that are supported by you guys supporting them. So there it is. mypillow.com, softdisclosure.com, both of those promo code CannCon if you're original here, OGs, and then Mushroom Vibe promo code CannCon. And I don't know if the promo code's working on that, but the link is down below. So check them out. Help support the show, help support America First businesses, and get amazing products. And we'll talk a little bit later about your precious metals, because I'm a huge guy on precious metals. So let's get started in the news. We'll get to the drama thing later on, because there have been it's egregious what some people are doing. Like one of the things that I promised myself when I got into this is that what's the old saying? I'm going to butcher this, but the old saying that you don't need a memory if you always tell the truth, or something along those lines. And I happen to be lucky enough to have both. I have a pretty decent memory when it comes to my work. Outside of there, my memory is absolute crap. But, I'm getting people telling me that I'm stealing work which is absurd. So I bring the receipts. So we'll get to that at the end of the show. Let's jump into the news for the week. And first up, well, actually not first up. If you have not hit that thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen, please hit that thumbs up. A little over 200 watching as you guys start to trickle in. King of Biltong, good to see you. Remember to email me. Here, I'm going to put my email in there. Shoot me over an email because I'll lose the chat and I can't like take a sidebar here and write it down. But there's mine. It's very simple. CannCon@cancon.net. Shoot me over an email. And it's good to see you. Good to see you. King of Biltong, fantastic Biltong. If you have not had Biltong, you need to get it in your life. All right, so smash that thumbs up. Helps out tremendously. Let's get into the news. We're going to start out with the Don Lemon arrest. Yes, that was last weekend. It seems like the Don Lemon thing already seems like it was like a month ago. We're well behind, right? But no, that's not the case. TMZ probably had my favorite clip on all of this. Check this out. The meltdown. Look at that. That is the face. That is the face right there of retardation, pure retardation, manufactured outrage. Orange man bad. Remember, these are the same people that were laughing in the background when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Okay. So, you know, when Don Lemon gets arrested, now all of a sudden they want to take the higher ground here and talk about the First Amendment and everything else.
The idea that
we got to get that idea because that is like the leftist talking point. The idea that
a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do. I covered riots.
Okay, so you know, he starts off there, the idea that he was just a journalist, right? Don Lemon was just a journalist. He was just covering riots. It's no big deal. This is what journalists do. No, Don Lemon was complicit in it. He was there when they were manufacturing the idea. It's not like he was just, you know, tipped off like, hey, be at this place at this time and you're going to see some stuff. No, he was there when he heard them saying, we're going to go shut down this church. We're going to go in there and protest inside of a private church in violation of federal law in the FACE Act and 18 U.S.C. 241, obstruction of rights, you know, stopping people from being able to exercise their rights. He was there. And not only that, I'm predicting that we might see something come up with a hate crime, because in that moment, Don Lemon says, yes, this crowd is all white because we want them to think this is MAGA. We want them to be welcoming us in. And then, you know, like the Trojan horse, right? The Trojan horse comes in. Oh, it's a gift from the Trojans. Oh, look at that. That's great. That's great. And boom, all of a sudden they pop out and they kill them all in their sleep. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but we went through the indictment last week because the indictment was out. We didn't have the arrest just yet and the reactions to the arrests. But the indictment was out, and, you know, things like these people were blocking parents from getting to their children who were downstairs in childcare while they worshiped. That is insane to me. JTB Wilson says, is this on your Rumble channel? Yes, it is on my Rumble channel. It's rumble.com/CannCon. And guys, I will eventually shut down the X feed because X does not have an API that integrates with Rumble. So if you're watching on X, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. But eventually, probably about an hour in, I'm going to shut that feed down and switch over exclusively to Rumble and YouTube through Rumble Studio. So let's keep going. The Don Lemon thing, you know, that's one aspect of it. But then we had, this was another one that was hilarious. Let me see if I can make this full screen. Hold on. Why is this not full screen? Well, I guess it's not going to be full screen. That's kind of crappy. Okay, so this is one of the other quote unquote journalists that was there. This was one of the people that orchestrated the protest or, you know, participated. and they're at their house, and you can see them looking out the window, and federal agents
Yes.
their house. Look at that. When I played this on Badlands Daily, I was like, that needs to be a meme right there. That needs to be a meme. Just a federal agent looking in your window in the snow, black, garb, looking in your window right at you, sees you up on the stairs. And I don't know, you could do anything with this. Like, excuse me, has anybody talked to you about your car's warranty expiring? Anything along those lines, but just hilarious. Now watch her meltdown. She's on the phone with dispatch.
Okay. Okay, well, this is really scary.
Ooh.
There's kids in the house. You guys have not been really friendly in the community. And to me, this seems a little, can I finish, sir? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Get your phone.
This seems a little bit aggressive to have all these cars in our cul-de-sac, 2, 3 agents, and now I saw the one disappear to the back. So to me, this is a little aggressive to just serve a warrant. Slide the warrant. Let me see the warrant.
I want to remind you guys, when I did this on Daily earlier this week, I had it pulled up, and I should have had it pulled up today. I apologize. I did not. But I played for you guys Alfredo Luna, Alpha Warrior, my co-host and my brother from another mother of another color, a U.S. Marine and police officer that I have tremendous respect for, that was a victim of J6 persecutions and lawfare and weaponization of government. And as most of you guys know, somebody that was not in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, but he was one of the very first people to be targeted by the FBI. And what this woman got right here, for actual federal crimes against private citizens going onto private property and stopping them from being able to worship, is far worse than anything Alfredo Luna did, and is far worse. Well, let me backtrack. It's far worse than anything any J6ers did. Now, well, granted, there were some J6ers that were Antifa and everything else that caused some destruction. Fair enough. But the overwhelming majority, 95%, 98% of J6ers were peaceful protesters who did nothing outside of walking through the Capitol when they were waved in by Capitol Police. And they got far worse than this. I know all these stories. Alpha was put out a tweet. And it never rose to any level of threat whatsoever. Is it caustic? Was it a little bit inflammatory? Yeah, absolutely. Free speech is allowed to be inflammatory, ladies and gentlemen. Newsflash. I can say whatever the fuck I want. As long as I'm not calling for threats against other people, legitimate, actionable threats against other people, I mean, I am pretty much able to say whatever I want. A lot of people say, well, you can't yell fire in a movie theater. Actually, that's not true. That is not true. That was overturned in the 80s. I can't cite the case specifically. And again, that's something I should probably know off the top of my head, but I don't. But that's what everybody always points to. Well, you have free speech, but you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. That's entirely not true. But my point is this woman like freaking out over this is absurd. Absurd. I mean, you got a guy, federal agent, you're on the phone with dispatch, right? You're on the phone with dispatch. They don't have any lasers pointed at you. Alpha had lasers pointed at him over a tweet. He was not even in DC on January 6th. He had children in the house. And not only that, they knew, because they do a workup before they do these knocks. And on Alpha, they did the knock before 6 a.m. So it's outside of normal business hours for the FBI to do raids. And, this is something that a lot of people don't know, but the FBI does have a kind of a set time where they're allowed to go and do these operations. Now, they can do them outside of those operations. And basically, you have to take the plans for that and the justification for that to do it outside of the normal business hours of FBI raids. You have to articulate a plan on why this guy is so dangerous that you have to get him while his head is on a pillow and he's off counting sheep. And if you can't do that, you don't get that permission. Now, somehow they made a tweet, a First Amendment tweet, so devastating that they got the justification to roll up with a Bearcat, 3 up-armored vehicles, and over a dozen agents, deploy a flashbang, deploy drones, have weapons pointed at his door, and everything else over a tweet. This woman doesn't have any of that. Now, I don't know. This could be 6 a.m. Who knows? Could be a pre-dawn raid. I don't know the time. Could be at night. You know, it's up north. It's the winter time. You know, it gets dark at 5, 4 o'clock, 4:35. So who knows what the time is that this is taking place. I doubt that they were able to get permission to do like a no-knock warrant, you know, raid, like this woman, or not no-knock, excuse me. I forget what the exact term is, but outside of normal business hours. I doubt they were able to get that permission. And I doubt this woman, you know, that they could portray this woman as such a threat that they had to get her while she was head on the pillow sleeping. But when they did it to Alpha, I think they did it for a specific reason. And that is because Alpha, as a gang detective, had a lot of outstanding cases that he was still a witness in. And we're talking murders, we're talking, you know, huge drug trafficking cases, gang cases, that kind of stuff. And so, you know, when somebody knocks on your door at 5 a.m. and says, you know, come out, this is the police, your first reaction as somebody in Alpha's position is to grab your gun. And Alpha tells the story. Thank God I didn't grab my gun and I grabbed my cell phone instead. By the grace of God, if you don't believe that our Lord and Savior is watching us above, take that as a miracle right there, that a combat veteran, 0311, and a gang detective who's been in numerous shootouts and had pending cases had no idea that the FBI would go to his house. What in the hell has he done that he would ever suspect the FBI would show up? So every sign points towards Spidey senses, Cooper's Code Black, grab your gun, start shooting. You're being targeted to take you off the stand and let people go. But that's not what happened. Alpha had a good head and was able to do the right thing and grab the cell phone instead of the gun. So the whole point is we went through years of malicious prosecutions, persecutions, lawfare, weaponization of government, all of that over the January 6th, which, by the way, the basis of January 6th was a stolen election, which is now coming out that we were right. And now these people are like, let's go interrupt your church and think that we can get away with it. Well, guess what? There's a new sheriff in town, and you ain't getting away with that shit. And whether you like him or not, Kash Patel's FBI is not fucking around anymore. I know that comment's going to trigger some people. Oh, Kash isn't good enough. Guys, goose fraba. These things take a while. Okay, so we'll land that bird there on that note. Let's jump into this story here. We're getting the Epstein documents. We got a few stories on Epstein here. The first one, just absolutely hilarious. From the Telegraph, Bill Gates caught an STD from Russian girls, Epstein claims. Now, Bill Gates has, of course, denied that. So I want to start off first and foremost by saying that he says it never happened. Epstein claimed that the Microsoft founder asked for antibiotics that he could surreptitiously give to his then wife, Melinda, from whom he is now divorced. And it also implicated Peter Mandelson. Epstein told Mandelson that he had, quote unquote, monstrous fun with Mr. Gates in Seattle. Pete Mandelson is a former parliamentarian from England. He was in numerous positions with Tony Blair in his cabinet. And he's getting a lot of flack. In fact, the other day, earlier this week, I should say, the British Parliament was convened. And I guess they were going after, I think it was somebody in Poland. I think it was the Polish government or whatever. Or they attributed to Poland the idea that Epstein is actually a Russian spy and he's working for Putin. Because, of course, in Europe, we got to keep the Putin drum banging. Boom, 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 Russia bad. Boom, 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 Russia bad. They don't want to come to grips with the fact that they're actually the bad guys in the Ukraine-Russia war, and they're the ones that are keeping this thing going. And I'm not talking about Ukraine. I think Ukraine has done their share of bad shit, but it's all at the behest of the European Union and our own CIA. especially in previous administrations, not necessarily under President Trump, but especially under Barack Obama. The CIA was atrocious in Ukraine and trying to manipulate Ukraine to join NATO. Well, not even to join NATO, but to overthrow a government, to put in a more favorable government in order to allow the European Union admission and allow free trade to pass from the EU through Ukraine and into Russia, avoiding sanctions, tariffs, and everything else. But, what am I to say? I don't know. It's just stupid. But my point is they got to keep the Putin drum banging, right? And the more you can do that, the better it looks. And so smear them every way you can. Now, is it possible that Epstein worked for the Russians? Yes, absolutely. I think Epstein was a freelancer that worked for everybody. Mossad, FSB, maybe back in the day, the KGB, the CIA for sure, MI5, MI6, the British intelligence, Australian. I think Epstein worked for anybody that would line his bank accounts and give him some sort of protections, right? And so, but I just thought it was hilarious that we see, Bill Gates trying to slip some I don't know what are the drugs? We took one of the drugs, it was for chlamydia. We had to take it when we were in the Marine Corps because it was also against malaria. Is it demoxicillin? It's not amoxicillin. Demoxidil. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember my guys were like, my guys in my unit, because I was married, so I wasn't, fooling around, but they were like, oh man, we keep this in case, something happens when we're out in town on Libo or something. And, you get a little burning sensation and you got some of that D word drug, whatever it was. It's just hilarious. Like thinking of slipping it in your wife's drink to, and think about this, man. Melinda talks a lot about, Epstein and that one of the reasons she divorced Gates was because of his relationship with Epstein. And if this dude's willing to go in there and slip her a drug to get rid of STDs that she may or may not get from him, man, I wonder if he's ever drugged her to go out and hang out and party with Epstein. Like they go on like a trip somewhere and he just slips something. Like 10 minutes later, she's like, I'm really tired. And then Bill is out there like raging, fist bumping with Epstein. Like, yeah. I don't know, man. But check out this clip here of Melinda talking about that.
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection.
Doxycycline. That's what it is. Thank you. I could not remember it. Thank you. Who was the first one to point that out? Nuke. Good catch, bro. Doxycycline. That's what it was. We had to take that. That shit was rough, man. We took 2 drugs before we deployed to Afghanistan because I went over there twice. The first time, I don't even remember what the drug was, but bro, it gave you like the most fucked up nightmares you could ever imagine. Like I was having horrible nightmares and my memory was like going to shit. Like I was on the phone one time and I couldn't remember my address back home. And I'd lived there for like 5 years. And I had to ask my wife, we'd only been married maybe 2 or 3 years at that point, 2 years. No, actually only a year at that point that we'd been married. And she remembered, but I couldn't remember. It was horrifying. Like I was really afraid. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's get back into the clip.
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these details.
Sad. Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth, right? And And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life.
I have zero remorse for that woman. I have zero sympathy for that woman. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She is a co-founder of that organization. That organization, you know, to think of her and trying to garner up sympathy because her husband almost drugged her to get rid of an STD because he was off doodling with underage girls with Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly. You guys, zero remorse for me on that. I mean, you guys not only in the COVID pandemic tried to force us or influenced our government to force us to take a vaccine that you were probably most likely benefiting from financially, but also the fact that you've been doing this around the world, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You guys have been sterilizing children around the world. You guys have been sterilizing and culling populations around the world. You guys have been investing in research on how to make mosquitoes transmitters of vaccines so we would unknowingly be taking medications and other things. Fuck off. Well, it's sadness that he had to drug me because he was doodling with underage girls. I don't care. You need to disappear into irrelevance. Take whatever alimony, whatever, you know, settlement you got from Bill and just get the fuck out. Just disappear. Go get your own little St. James Island and disappear. You and your husband have committed atrocities against the American people and the people of this world. Save me the crocodile tears and the, it's so tragic that he did this. It's sadness. That's the truth. Bullshit. I don't for a second think that she's innocent in all of this. And this media tour that she's doing all of a sudden now, I don't know what the reasoning is for this. I'm not going to pretend to know. But yeah, just bullshit. Piss off. Speaking of Epstein, I want to stay on Epstein here. This was an article I wrote earlier this week, and I had seen a post from Colonel Towner talking about this email, and I read it, and I was like, holy shit, this is nuts. It was in the Epstein documents. This is crazy. There's some strong accusations being made in this email. And so I texted Colonel and I was like, hey, you know, do you have a link directly to this? And I went and found it on the DOJ's website and started reading through this email thread between an investigator in Mexico and a detective in New York City. NYPD that was involved in the Epstein. He was part of the Epstein task force. I think child exploitation unit in New York and NYPD. So here's the story I wrote from the Gateway Pundit. Shocking email from Epstein files implicates former U.S. Ambassador Clinton's, Biden's, the first commanding officer of SEAL Team 6, and more. And I'll just read from here before I get into the emails directly. I'll just read my opening paragraph. A series of emails uncovered in the most recent release by the Department of Justice reads like a spy thriller novel. American agents in a foreign country attacking local law enforcement to disrupt an investigation. Threats made all the way up to the president of Mexico. A judge shot by an American in order to delay a trial. A U.S. ambassador implicated in all of it. And a U.S. Special Forces icon being detained in an undisclosed location. Plot twist. The Special Forces veteran is the bad guy. The emails appear to involve Ken Turner, who goes by the name Ken T in the emails, and possibly NYPD detective Walter E. Harkins, based on a signature field in one of the emails. Harkins retired from the NYPD just days after the 2024 election, following a 33-year career, ending 4 generations of familial service to the department. So this is the emails, and I have the whole thread right here, so I'll show you guys the whole thread first real quick. And here you go on that. The thread starts on July 23rd, 2019. So this is about 2 weeks, maybe, about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before Epstein, quote unquote, kills himself. And then we jump up here and you start getting into the emails. And for that, we'll jump into the most relevant ones. So this is a screenshot I took here, July 27th. So 4 days after Ken Turner. We believe this to be Kenneth. I think it's Kenneth Collins Turner or Kenneth Darrell Turner is the guy's name. And unfortunately, he died in February of 2025. So he is no longer with us. And he says, we've had another serious incident since an American shot the trial judge in our child sex trafficking case here. Now, this is correspondence between Kenneth Turner from Mexico and Detective Harkins, believed to be Detective Harkin of the Office of Government Accountability and NYPD, and also Child Exploitation Bureau. And he is, I guess he's kind of like the guy that's doing the investigation into Epstein at the local NYPD level as opposed to the FBI. He was involved in the raid on Little St. James Island. He was in the email thread about the raid down there. So he writes, we've had another serious incident. Ken T. Turner, excuse me, let me make sure I'm being articulate on this. Ken Turner writes, we've had another serious incident since an American shot the trial judge in our child sex trafficking case here. He and I both think this latest incident is tied to the fact that we reached out to your team. Who on your team knows we are talking to you? Anyone assigned from NSA, CIA, or the U.S. State Department? Please understand, people's lives here are in jeopardy. We have had 4 armed attacks against us. 4 armed attacks against us. My partner has shot and killed 2 and wounded 5 American agents to date. Numerous white American agents following us in vans assigned to the U.S. Embassy. Jorge was attacked and lost his arm. The president of Mexico is keenly aware of our case against Marchenko and other U.S. officials. Other U.S. officials, plural. This case we have here is most certainly connected to yours. We have the proof. Our case will help bring a whole new dynamic to what you know and who is involved. Prince Phillips is small fry compared to what we have uncovered. Now, I'm going to pause there for a second because a thought just crossed my mind that I have never put together here. At the time of the writing of this, Obrador was the president of Mexico. Obrador. I don't know much about Obrador, but I do know that Obrador, as far as I know, he's a pretty straight shooter. Okay, he's a socialist, right? But you know, that's their own politics there. I'm not getting involved in that. But what's interesting is they say here that Obrador knew, but he's not the president anymore. The president now is Lopez, no, Gonzalez, no, Rodriguez, no, Scheinbaum. Scheinbaum. Well, that's a real Mexican sounding name. Again, pure speculation here, but it's not lost on me that the president of Mexico is allegedly aware of a case that was involving Marchenko, a U.S. spy, SEAL Team 6 commander, went on to do a lot of contract work, it sounds like, wrote a lot of spy thrillers. I'm going to go out and say that he was probably working in some form or fashion with the CIA or some contractors within the intelligence community. So I'm saying that allegedly. Okay, there we go. An alleged spy, a case against an alleged spy, and other U.S. officials. So the Mexican government knows about this. The president of Mexico knows about this. And who's the next person to come in? Somebody with the last name Scheinbaum. Make your own assumptions. Reading on. You may want to question the ex-U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Mr. Earl Anthony Wayne, about his involvement with an underage girl when he attended and was arrested. I think they meant to say when he attended a party and was arrested by the federal police. We believe that Marchenko and Epstein were involved organizing this party, and it was held in Juarez, Mexico in 2014 at a U.S. consulate controlled housing facility. I wonder when they say U.S. consulate controlled housing facility, I wonder if that's for like housing diplomats and bureaucrats that are living there, or I wonder if that's like at-risk youth housing. I don't know. I'm sure it's the former, but maybe it is the latter. I don't know. Ask him how he knows Richard Marchenko. He was sentenced in Mexico in 2017 to a life sentence for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. Now, it's unclear there. It says, ask him how he knows Richard Marchenko. And then the next sentence says, he was sentenced in Mexico in 2017 to a life sentence for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. That sounds like they're saying Marchenko was sentenced to that. But There's a comma, and it says her son, meaning the 11-year-old girl that was impregnated, that apparently had the child at 11. Her son's DNA matches Wayne's 100%. So Wayne apparently was the one that they're talking about when they said he was sentenced to Mexico, a life sentence in Mexico in 2017. But he is allowing, meaning Wayne is allowing an ex-U.S. Marine. First off, no such thing as ex-Marine, nor former, once a Marine, always a Marine. But he is allowing an ex-U.S. Marine to stand in his place to serve his sentence in Mexico. That was an agreement worked out between our State Department and a judge in Mexico after a huge payoff. Mr. Anthony has an outstanding arrest warrant here in Mexico for avoiding sentencing, and then goes on to give his number and everything else. So that is very interesting as well. The letter goes on and gets a little bit more specific, or the thread, excuse me, it's not this specific letter, but it goes on and gets a little bit more specific. Okay. Sorry, I got a text message. As I tried to tell you a month ago, this is Ken Turner in December 31st, 2019. So Epstein's dead already. December 31st, Epstein's been quote unquote dead for 4 months, over 4 months. As I tried to tell you a month ago, I've continued interviewing the young victim, Carla, and she has finally opened up after her guardian was attacked and beaten by U.S. agents in Chetumal. She has disclosed where she met Epstein, whose homes they visited in New York, Maryland, New Mexico, Florida, the Virgin Islands, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, and Cancun in just the last 2 years with Marchenko. The names she has associated with him in these visits include the Clintons, the Bidens, Wayne, the ambassador, older politicians, and lawyers. She has a photographic memory and an excellent artist who made sketches of some of these men. These U.S. agents who attacked and raped her and her guardian are under arrest in Mexico and have asked her and her guardian to drop all charges against them so that all the harassing attacks stop. I don't trust these people to not harm her and the guardian due to past attacks. Now, I got to go back to this email here. So the only way that we knew that it was Harkins is because of this little thing right here, where it actually unredacts his signature. It unredacts his cell number 2, but that's a line for the detective, and he's no longer working there. All right, so I want to go to there's a very key comment. This is it right here. Let me zoom in on this. Bear with me, guys. On August 5th, 2019, Ken Turner writes to Harkin again. He says, my nephew, Logan Turner, was shot and killed in the mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio last evening. I'm rushing home to be with my immediate family. All investigative work on Marchenko and Epstein is still in process, and we have uncovered more videos and photos of the two of them together in Mexico. Another attempt by U.S. Embassy security team was made yesterday when they stopped my partner and searched her car, looking for videos and photos we uncovered that they told her could not leave Mexico. They were not in her car. Someone doesn't want this data disclosed. So I looked into this, and Logan Turner was in fact murdered in the mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio in 2019. And, I'm going to be a little bit conspiratorial here, but there is a lot of people talk about, MK Ultra type attacks where people are brainwashed and manipulated to become, essentially, assassins for the government. I know it sounds crazy, right? Not to you guys, but if somebody else from the outside, a Fox News watcher were to watch this, they'd be like, oh, that's some Jack Ryan CIA shit. Yeah, exactly. The interesting thing about that attack is that Logan Turner was an employee at the venue where the attack occurred. I believe it was a Cracker Barrel. He was an employee there. He was one of the victims that was supposed to be there. And if you are going to have a rogue attack, then this would be the place to do it, right? That would be the way to do it. If anybody was going to be the victim, right? If you were going to set up a mass shooting and you had to make sure the target was this person, but you're going to kill a bunch of other people to make it look like it was just a random act of violence and some deranged leftist retard that decided that he didn't want to be here and wanted to go out in a blaze of glory, that's how you would do it. You would go after the person where he's supposed to be, make sure you get him. I'd be curious to see if he was the first person killed. If that's a, you know what? I might FOIA those documents from Dayton, Ohio, and see how the progression went, who the first person hit was. Because if it was Logan Turner, that's even more evidence that this was a targeted attack, a threat against Ken Turner and what he's uncovering there. If Logan Turner was the first person shot, we need to know that. We need to know that. But anyways, my point is that this gives this guy credibility because, you know, he's giving you true events. Now, he mentions here, he says that my partner and searched her car. Well, earlier we talked about Jorge Rodriguez, Rodriguez, who works for the government in Mexico. He's a federal law enforcement officer in Mexico. Okay. So, I mean, there is credibility in this story. Let me make sure it's Rodriguez. He names his Jorge. He names him. I'm just trying to remember if it was Gonzalez or Rodriguez. I'm killing the vibe. I was on a roll. And then I questioned myself. And like I said earlier in the show, my integrity is everything. And now I'm questioning myself. Fuck. Why do I do this? It just says Jorge. All right, I'm just going to go with Jorge. So we talked about Jorge. That's actually a separate email where it outlines the team. He's also got a former South African police officer that's working with him as an investigator, or a former South Africa law enforcement investigator that's working with him as well. So there's a team of 3. And so that's who he's talking about there. Now, this is the part that also gets real interesting. So August 5th, he says that Harkin or whoever's writing back writes, "My condolences on behalf of your nephew," and that's all, right? That's it. And then August 10th, the day of Epstein's alleged suicide, he writes, "Just heard about Epstein. Based upon what we have discovered here and who is involved here in Mexico, we don't believe it was suicide. When you have 5 minutes, you need to listen to what we have as evidence." And no response. That, to me, is very concerning. Now, like I said, Harkin retired after 2 days after Trump was elected. Had to know the Epstein was going to get released, right? Now, he was 33 years of service, so it's not like it was an abrupt departure from the department. But Turner's dead. Marchenko died in 2021, allegedly at home. Ken Turner died in February 2025. This is a cold case. Unless somebody wants to go down to Mexico and look up this Jorge Gonzalez Rodriguez, whatever his last name is, I apologize for mixing it up. Now, the other thing that's interesting is I saw a guy online yesterday that is going through and I guess extracting the PDFs and everything that were attached to these emails. I don't know how they're doing it. I'm not a tech guy at all, but maybe I should reach out to him and see if we could get some of the documents that were attached to these emails unsealed or published, because I think that would be very, very important. Okay, so another story in the Epstein saga, and these next 3 are going to tie together. So the first one here is from the New York Post. Jeffrey Epstein lawyers met with feds to discuss cooperating in the sex trafficking case just 2 weeks before his death, according to FBI records. Epstein was set to potentially cooperate with the feds in his sprawling sex trafficking case, with lawyers from both sides huddling just 2 weeks before he killed himself in jail, according to newly released FBI files. Now, I wonder if AG Barr was involved in this, because remember, we all heard the story that like Barr had just visited Epstein or whatever the night before, and people were like, no, that's not true. Barr didn't go down there. Well, I wonder if this adds a little bit of veracity to those stories, validity to those stories. Federal prosecutors met with lawyers on July 29th, 2019, when his camp, quote, in very general terms, discussed the possibility of a resolution of the case and the possibility of the defendant's cooperation, according to an FBI record. I did not put this together until just right now. July 29th is 2 days after this email, the most damning one. That's 2 days after this email when he's asking, is NSA, CIA, or U.S. State Department involved in this, working with your team? Who from those departments is working with you? Because we've had all these attacks and everything else. And then 2 days after that, the feds all of a sudden show up trying to play nice with Epstein. And then 2 weeks after that, he's assassinated. And what does this guy say? Oh, I completely forgot this part. Hold on. I completely forgot this part. Oh, no, I did read the part where he implicates the Bidens, Obamas, or the Clintons, Bidens, Wayne, and other politicians and lawyers. How is that not interesting right there? This is Smay60 says, this is what Grok said about the Dayton shooting. The first person shot and killed was his wife, Katharina Allen, Katie Allen. Whose wife? I want to see the police report. I don't trust AI on this one. I want to see the police report. I appreciate you looking that up for me, Smay. Appreciate that. But yeah, so here's, I mean, look, a lot of times these things are purely coincidental, right? There's a million things going on in the Epstein investigation. We're getting like millions and millions of documents. So to think that this one specific case is like somehow in a vacuum, it's the only thing that investigators are looking at, is absurd. But if this guy's story, if Ken Turner's story is true and he's being attacked by American agents in Mexico and they've killed 2 of them, injured 5, his partner lost his arm, the former ambassador raped an 11-year-old girl and that girl has a baby now that has 100% DNA match to the ambassador. All of this stuff. They have Marchenko in their custody at this time. He's been arrested in Mexico. There is a lot of credibility in this case. If we can verify these things. Now, I have no idea how to investigate Mexico, so I'm out. I can't do that. But, maybe if we knew Mexican investigators, I mean, it's a country that is widely run by our intelligence with a smattering of cartel influence and foreign influence. I think this is a huge story here. Yeah, man. So feds are cooperating. Now, one of 2 things can happen when they're cooperating. They could either be cooperating because they want to roll over everybody, or they could be setting up what Epstein knows. Who knows? This is when President Trump is in office. I have long speculated that President Trump was an informant against Jeffrey Epstein. Long speculated that. And so, is Epstein still alive? I don't know. If he is still alive, this story is a little relevant. A little bit. Jeffrey Epstein's secret tunnel underneath island layer as sinister trapdoors revealed in the files. Now, I don't care about the story itself. I just care about the fact that we now know that there's a secret tunnel system throughout Little St. James Island. Why? Well, you guys remember the Luke Rudkowski photo that he posted from the drone footage showing a guy? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Showing Epstein. Let me see if I can find this right quick. Yep, there it is. It's not very difficult to find. Okay. I'm pretty sure I want to attribute this correctly, but I'm pretty sure this came from Luke Rudkowski. And I believe that this was taken after this photo was taken after he was dead. I mean, that sure looks like Jeffrey Epstein. That certainly looks like Jeffrey Epstein. So now we know he has we now know that prosecutors were visiting with him 2 weeks before he died. Are they making a deal? Are they trying to get him to roll over? Who knows? We also know that an investigator in Mexico had damning evidence that Epstein and Marchenko and others were involved in parties down in Mexico, implicates the Obamas, or excuse me, I keep saying the Obamas, the Bidens, the Clintons, and others. It's interesting, that's for sure. CBS put this out. Who entered Epstein's jail tier the night of his death? Newly released video logs appear to contradict official accounts. Now, again, this is something we picked up on right away. A couple things that we picked up on right away. First and foremost is the little blur, which you're going to see it right here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll go to the one that actually plays it. But we picked up on, and when I say we, researchers picked up on, the blur as well as a mouse that appears. So this is a screen recording. Like my mouse is right here, but boom, it goes like that right there. So check this out.
8 p.m. The report says someone, probably Noel, carries a bundle of bedding or clothing up the stairs. It's a rare instance the video does catch movement on the stairs, but barely. Let's see that zoomed in and in slow motion again. Several of the video forensic experts we spoke with were skeptical about the report's conclusion and thought that the video could be showing an inmate walking up the stairs. Authorities say this was the last time anyone approached his cell block until his body was discovered the next morning. Again, while the video does not contradict that, experts who viewed the video say the limited field of view makes it impossible to definitively conclude that no one used those stairs in that time period. Beyond this, there are other issues our investigation and others have uncovered. At 11:21 p.m. and 34 seconds, a cursor appears briefly on screen, indicating the video may have been recorded with a camera or a screen recording and was not an export of the raw file. The FBI said it had seized the prison's hard drive.
All right, so that one cuts right there. So you get my point. There's a little bit of suspicion. I mean, the missing minute, and then they had to backtrack on that. Now, and a lot of people are saying, well, the DOJ is covering this up. Well, think about it, though. Think about it. Just take a minute and think about this. If Epstein is in WITSEC, if Epstein is alive and awaiting, whatever, they have to do this stuff. They have to protect him. They have to protect. And to be honest with you, there's probably only a handful of people that would be read in on something like that. I think President Trump would be, because I think he's the informant that was involved in all of this. And obviously he's the president of the United States. And so again, I'm just totally speculating here. I'm totally speculating here. But when you see, Bongino and Patel come out and say, no, Epstein killed himself. There's nothing to see here. We reviewed the footage. Nothing to see here. Don't pay attention to anything. What? That's completely counterintuitive to how the two of them have been their entire careers. But if there's a bigger picture, you got to give it time, guys. You got to give it time. We know that there's more to this story than what we're being told. We know that they've got to have this information. I firmly believe that President Trump was a whistleblower in this. Not a whistleblower, a confidential human source, a confidential informant, an asset. I've done a piece on this. It's an hour long where I dug into it. And I think Epstein knew too. And I think Epstein caught on. So just let's take this slow, guys. We're getting a lot of good stuff out of the new emails, a lot of bad stuff. People talking about, oh, Joe Biden killed himself, or Joe Biden was assassinated and now he's a mask. Like, somebody actually posted that and didn't put hey guys, this is just a tip line where any crazy son of a bitch can send whatever they want. I could go in there right now and send a thing that says the FBI knows that Jeffrey Epstein is an alien from Venus, and he actually flew his aircraft here and parked it on Little St. James Island. And if you look from, I could send that to the FBI and that would have been in the emails. You guys got to use some discretion in discernment and putting this stuff out there. When I put those emails out, I spent a whole day, me and Colonel Towner spent a whole day digging through this guy. Have some fucking discernment, guys. Come on. Oh, Joe Biden's, and that post has like 2 million views now. That is the epitome of grifting. You know something is fundamentally false or unprovable, and you're going to post a tip line from some random nobody. Come on, guys. But I do think that we're learning some interesting things about the timeline surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. I think this is very interesting. All right, guys, I said at the hour mark, I'm going to shut down the X feed and go exclusively to Rumble and YouTube. So I will post in the X chat. And thank you, guys. I see some Rumble rants popping up. I'm going to go through those at the break here. And I appreciate those because, you know, this show is just me spitballing with you guys for 3 hours reviewing stuff. This is not, you know, a show from anybody specific. Like, it's not Badlands, it's not Gateway or anything like that. So rants and my advertisers are the only way that, you know, I'm actually financially benefiting from this. I'm going to put the link in the chat right there. I just put it in the X feed. I'm going to shut it down. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in over there. Share it out. Give me a follow if you're new. Jump over to rumble.com/CannCon, CannCon. And we got a lot more. We haven't even gotten to my Georgia story and all that stuff yet. So I hope you guys jump over. And on that note, thank you guys so much to X. I'll see you guys later. All right. And with that, I have nuked X. I have nuked X. One of the latest from Kirill. Let me see what we got here. I'll share it. Kirill Dmitriev. I love this guy, man. He was down in Miami, and it's a long shot, but you know, when you got the opportunity, shoot your shot, right? I was like, hey, let's grab a beer, man. When he was down in Miami, that would have been fantastic, man. I like this guy. Based Kirill Dmitriev, the fall of the Rothschilds. I love it. All right. So let me clean up my tabs here. I wish you guys could see what my tabs look like during all this, because there is a lot that I've got there. And, you know, let's go ahead and hit a sponsor while we are, while we're letting the others trickle in here. And let's start out with our friends over at Rumble. Love Rumble, right? They can cancel your accounts. They can freeze your cards. They can decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and they use it. That's why financial independence matters now more than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. Real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. You buy digital assets like Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. That's the most important part. No cancel button. And when you want to support the creators that you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference. This isn't a credit line that they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. Yours to protect your future. Yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download the Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom. And the link is pinned right at the top of my chat. And check it out. Rumble Wallet, take back your own sovereignty. And let's go ahead and reset here. Smash that thumbs up if you have not done so already. A little over 604 people, watching. Share. Take a second and share the show out. I'm going to take a sip of coffee real quick. It helps out a lot. Share it on, you know, Facebook, all the socials, X, Truth Social, all over. Got to grow this thing. All right. We got a couple dry stories. When I say dry, I mean just got to make sure that we're covering the news fairly. It's not all just gossip and conspiracy and conspiracy theories and everything else. Although those are fun. we do have to cover actual news. So from ABC News, judge blocks additional citizenship provisions in the latest setback to Trump's election executive order. Man, these people are ruthless in this. They are absolutely ruthless. Let me see if I can get this. If I do this, all my highlights, well, they usually come back, and it didn't come back this time. That's interesting. My highlights disappeared. What happens if I refresh? Oh, they tried to come back. You saw that. They tried to
Other
come
headlines
back.
that we're tracking for you this afternoon.
I don't want to talk to you. What happens if I do this? Nope. All right, well, they disappeared. U.S. District Judge Colleen Collar Cottley in Washington ruled that the Constitution's separation of powers gives states and, to an extent, Congress authority over setting election rules, and that's at the heart of this case. Put simply, our Constitution does not allow the president to impose unilateral changes to federal election procedures, wrote the judge, an appointee of Bill Clinton. Specifically, Collar Cottley permanently blocked two provisions of the executive order that sought to impose proof of citizenship rules. Her decision said agencies will not be allowed to, quote unquote, assess citizenship before providing a federal voter registration form to people enrolling in public assistance programs. Let me read that again. Her decision said agencies will not be allowed to assess citizenship before providing a federal voter registration form to people enrolling in public assistance programs, subsidies, welfare. It also said the Secretary of Defense cannot require documentary proof of citizenship when military personnel register to request ballots. The problem with this is not the requesting of citizenship when giving them a federal ballot, a federal registration. The problem here is that they automatically register them in many, many, many states. It's not a matter of giving them the registration. If you can't validate their citizenship, but you're automatically registering them to vote, then we have inflated voter rolls, period. End of conversation. That's just that's just how it works. Now, this is why and to be fair, this could be getting out in front of the SAVE Act, right? The Save America Act. And there's been a lot of talk about this over the last couple days. We had this post here. So keep that in mind, because we're gonna move on and cover a little bit more of the context behind this. Motor voter registration is one of the worst things in the world. One of the worst things in the world. It's so stupid. It's so unbelievably stupid. If you want to vote, if you want to participate in the civics of this country, get off your lazy ass and go do something about it. I don't want people that have no desire to vote voting. I don't want people that it's like, oh, well, I guess, if they're going to make it so simple for me that I don't have to do a goddamn thing, then I'll vote. I don't want those people voting. I want people that are reading up on what's going on in the world, what's going on in our country. Even though it's all propaganda, I want those people interested, engaged. I don't want the person that has no clue what the hell's going on and is only voting because every single thing the government did made it so simple for them to vote that it's only taking 8 seconds out of their life to do it. I don't want those people voting. And on top of that, when they make it so simple that it compromises the integrity of our voter rolls in our elections, that makes it even worse. We don't know. The bottom line is we don't know how many illegals are on our voter rolls because 21 states, all Democrat states, all sanctuary states with the highest population of illegal immigrants and even legal immigrants, visas and green card holders, those states are suing to stop this from happening. We do not know how bad our voter rolls are. And I'm not a big voter roll fan. I'm not like that's not the sexy thing with election integrity to me. I totally understand its importance. I totally get it. And I probably know more than 99% of Americans about it. But it's not my wheelhouse. But I still fundamentally understand and actually probably more at an intricate level how compromised our voter rolls are. Not many people have written as much about Eric and read the Eric bylaws like I have, and seen that when these states send their voter registrations off to Eric for the cleaning and maintaining of their voter rolls, Eric refuses to allow them to send naturalization and citizenship data with those voter rolls. Most people don't know that. And so now seeing not just the federal judge, but our own Congress pushing back against it is insane. Now watch this. This is Tommy Tuberville saying a half-truth, and I'll stop in a moment.
And then, of course, President Trump wants same-day voting, mail ballots, get rid of these voting machines. There's a half a dozen people, whether it's the House or Senate, Larry, that are up here as we speak, that did not get elected. It was all bogus.
Okay, so I'll stop there. He says half a dozen. It's not half a dozen. There's maybe half a dozen that are legitimately elected up there. The rest are all illegitimate. Until you can prove their legitimacy, until you can prove that these people are legitimately elected by being completely and totally transparent in your elections, they're all illegitimate. They are. And that's why they accomplish nothing. That's why the highlights of our Congress is them yelling and screaming like Meeks was last week and Maxine Waters was last week, and all these other retards are screaming at each other because that's all they can do. Let me play the rest of the Tuberville clip, and then I'll play what was one of the most outrageous clips I've heard, and it's from a Republican, but one of the most outrageous clips I've heard I'm going to play following this Tuberville clip.
Because we've seen the evidence, and if we don't straighten that out, you're going to see a lot more of it this fall, and it's just going to get worse and worse with the American people saying, listen, we got all y'all up there, and you don't do anything to straighten it out. We want closed borders, and we want fair elections. Those two things they are demanding, and as Republicans, we had better to listen to them and do that, or we're going to lose next fall.
A lot of states, don't even have an ID picture. And by the way, I vote in the state of Connecticut. You don't need an ID. You don't need a picture. You could show them a credit card, Senator. Anybody can get a credit card, any kind of credit card. You could show them a debit card, and that's sufficient. Many states like driver's licenses. Well, anybody can get a driver's license. Some states are allowing illegals to get driver's licenses for commercial purposes. So the SAVE Act would eliminate that stuff. It's very important, but you got to make the case. I don't hear many people making the case.
All right, so I mean, I'm in line with all of the things that he said there. Tuberville says the right things. He is correct. The only thing I push back on is the legitimacy thing. I don't think that we have any legitimately elected officials. That's just my opinion. Let's go to this clip here, because this is how much these people are out of touch with Americans. John Thune talking about the SAVE Act.
Let's listen here.
Try to outlast the Democratic minority under current rules. Do you have any expectation that you can succeed with that, given the enormous difficulty of doing that? In fact, the big majority have not been able to.
Right. Well, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions. There are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and how they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will have those discussions, but that's obviously ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time with not only unlimited debate, but also unlimited amendments.
All right, rather we had.
This is why these people, me and Ash were talking about this last night on Why We Vote. This is why these people won't come on our shows. Well, we have all these other things that we have to do. No, you're illegitimate. Until you clean up our elections, you don't have anything to do. Name your post office, put your little fucking banners up on your government buildings, pass your continuing resolutions every 3 months and make it like doomsday, the sky is falling, because that's all that you can do. Why? Because you're not the representatives of these people, of the people of the United States. You do not represent us. We have no faith in our elections, and this is broad. The SAVE Act has 84% polling approval among the American people. There is nothing, and that's bipartisan, by the way, 84% bipartisan. Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, everybody. We all agree on this. And you fucking cowards are like, well, we've got bills, Russian roadways and the LGBTQ transgenders in Pakistan, and we got to make sure we get that budget passed again, or we're going to shut down the government. Shut the fuck up. 84%, John Thune. Bring that bill to the floor and make them filibuster that bill for a month. Make them filibuster it for a month. And the whole time they're filibustering it, hold up CNN's Harry Enton in the background showing that 84% of Americans are in agreement with the SAVE Act, with requiring voter ID, with requiring proof of citizenship. Telling us that cleaning up our elections, we got to make sure that it's the right time to do it. While 84%, that's not a representative democracy. That is not a republic. That is not a representative republic, a constitutional republic. You are not representatives of us if you have 84% in approval of something and you're not fucking doing it. Period. If you want to be strategic about it, do exactly what I just said. Make them filibuster this forever. And the whole time, hold up the numbers. Where is it? Right here. Hold up these numbers the whole entire time. In favor of photo ID, 83%, 81%, 76%. Going all the way back to 2018, pre-Trump election fraud and all that. 2018, 76%. I'm sorry, guys. I am very passionate about this one because I don't think there's any more of a more glaring issue than this issue right here. The things that John Thune just said about why you have to be strategic to do something that 84% of Americans agree with. This means that you have a U.S. Senate and a U.S. House that are placating, that are pandering to 16% of the population. That is not a representative democracy. That is not democracy. That's their favorite word. That is not a representative republic. That is a fucking government of oligarchical nitwits that are illegitimately elected, that are beholden to their corporate donors and the people who want the stolen elections to keep the status quo, to keep these swamp rats in office. Fuck them. I'm sorry. This is the hill that John Thune should be dying on, and this is the hill that he could win the midterms on. If they filibuster it, make Chuck Schumer filibuster this, make AOC, whoever, well, AOC can't filibuster. She's in the House. Make the Democrats filibuster this in the Senate, John Thune. He's not a serious person. He's not a serious person. I'm sorry. Like this is something I don't get to do this on daily because I try and be a little bit more professional on daily, but this is fucking. Let me play that John Thune clip one more time. John Thune, you are a scumbag. You are an absolute swamp rat scumbag.
Let's listen here.
Try to outlast the Democratic minority under current rules. Do you have any expectation that you can succeed with that, given the enormous difficulty of doing that? In fact, the big majority has not been able to.
Right. Well, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it. And we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action. Hopefully.
Does anybody know what housing bill he's talking about? No, but 84% know about the SAVE Act.
Market structure bill, possibly permitting reform.
Permitting reform? Oh, permitting reform. That's excellent. Govern me harder, Daddy. I need to know more. I got to make sure that you guys can come out there and make sure that I can't build a fucking shed in my backyard because I don't have a permit, or we need permits for watershed. More government. We got to vote on more government. We don't want to vote for good representation that's actually indicative of the will of the people, but more government. Permitting reform for sure.
Farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions. There are a whole bunch of things.
Oh, Russia sanctions. Got to get those Russia sanctions in there. Got to get those Russian sanctions. As the president is literally talking about sovereignty among nations, let's make sure we sanction the second leading superpower in the world. Please, let's make sure we get these Russia sanctions. These people are not fucking serious people, guys. These people are not fucking serious people. 84%. Let me put the Harry Enton clip back up there. In fact, let's play the Harry Enton clip because this is CNN, guys. This is CNN turning the screws on John Thune. This is CNN turning the screws on John Thune. I am in Harry Enton's camp.
Photo ID, just so people understand, is the idea that someone shows a photo ID when they go to vote, when they go to cast their actual ballot, because there's a separate discussion right now about needing a passport or a birth certificate to register to vote, but the polling is all on voter ID showing an ID to vote.
Showing a photo ID to vote. And the American people are with Nicki Minaj, because what are we talking about here? So take a look here. Favor voter ID to vote. Look, I got all this polling on the screen going back since 2018. You'll notice on all of it, it's all north of 75%, 76%, 76%, 76%, 81%, and then 83% in the last year of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj. They favor photo ID to be able to vote.
What about by party? What's the party breakdown?
Yeah, normally you might expect, hey, there'd be a big divide by party with Republicans really for it and Democrats really against it. But not really here. I mean, just take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. You got 95% of Republicans, pretty much all of them, but even 71% of Democrats favor photo ID to vote. So again, Nicki Minaj posting that on X, and what you see is that the American people, actually, it's not really all that controversial. The American people are with Nicki Minaj, whether they are Republican or even if they are Democrats. We're talking about 7 in 10 Democrats agreeing with Nicki Minaj that you, in fact, should show a voter photo ID to vote.
What? Nicki Minaj for Senate, man. Let's get Nicki Minaj to replace John fucking Thune. The spineless, feckless John Thune. The same guy who's been thwarting President Trump on all of the nominations that have not yet been appointed. Lindsey Halligan wouldn't go with Ed Martin, although that was mainly Tom Tillis, but still. All the nominations, and there's a ton. There's a ton. You guys have no idea how many nominations that President Trump has made that have not been Senate confirmed yet because John Thune is too busy sanctioning Russia. I don't understand it, man. This screenshot right here, 71% of Democrats, 95% of Republicans are being held hostage by John Thune and Chuck Schumer. Why? Because of the winner's dilemma. They know that the second we start to move in the direction of getting quality election reform, the second that happens, they become irrelevant. They become irrelevant. Not because John Thune's going to lose in his general election, but because John Thune is going to lose in his primary election. These guys are mostly from places that are one way or the other, period. You go to Chuck Schumer, you go to New York, and New York is Democrat. But it's not the Democrat that likes Chuck Schumer's policies. It's probably more in line with AOC, to be honest with you. The populist movement. These establishment swamp fucks. They're not even rats anymore. They're swamp fucks. I'm so fired up on this right now. I don't even think I realized. All right, I'm gonna let this one go. I got a goose fraba. Somebody get me a joint, man. I need a joint so bad right now. Please smash that thumbs up if you have not done so yet. I appreciate it. 673 people watching. Smash that thumbs up. Helps me out tremendously. How about a little comic relief? I have not seen this yet, but my good friend Liberty Lion in the chat, I asked him to make me a video, and he has made it. I've not seen it yet, so we're going to see this together the first time. Hold on 1 second here. And we've all seen the President Trump meltdown over his racist tweets. Well, Speaker Hakeem Jeffries has some words for you guys.
This disgusting video posted by the so-called president was done intentionally. Donald Trump and his vile, racist, and malignant behavior. This guy is an unhinged bottom feeder. President Obama and Michelle Obama are brilliant, caring, and patriotic Americans. They represent the best of this country. It's time for John Thune, Mike Johnson, and Republicans to denounce this serial fraudster who's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue pretending to be the president of the United States.
Trump is racist. Trump is racist. Trump is a Nazi.
Excellent work from the Liberty Lion. You nailed it, brother. You nailed it, brother. That is actually dubbed over what Hakeem Jeffries said. The only thing, Liberty, if you're listening, Lion, if you're listening, the only thing that I would change is I was kind of hoping that you would just randomly get, like, in natural pauses in Hakeem Jeffries' speech, Hillary Clinton coming in and going, Trump is racist, like that. Like just maybe a couple times throughout, but sporadic. If you can make those tweaks, that'd be perfect. And then after the show, I'm going to post that up in response to Hakeem Jeffries' remarks, because that video is downright. That AI meme video of all of them is hilarious, and they're blowing this out of proportion. I said this on X the other day. The same people that have been calling you, me, and the rest of MAGA Nazis, racist, well, they don't call us retards. We call them retards. Maggots, despicables, deplorables, all the shit that they've been throwing at us, and they freak out over somebody screen recording a little bit too long and playing an AI video that was taken completely out of context. Yeah, fuck you, man. You don't have the moral high ground on this. Fuck all the way off, as Ash would say. Fatu. Fuck all the way off. You guys have been calling us racist and everything else. So you know what? Whatever you call us, it doesn't affect me anymore. Like, I'm so numb. Like, it's like when you're in the Marine Corps, they used to like do like body training. Like you would like hit yourself in the shins to try and kill your nerves in the shins so that stuff doesn't hurt you. That's what's happened to me. Like, we just don't care anymore. We really don't. And when I see my normie friends like freaking out about this, I'm like, hey, what was the video about? Election fraud. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. I literally said that yesterday. Mission accomplished. Yeah. Barb rocks. It's not FATO. It's FATWO. Fatu. Fuck all the way off. Fatu. Maybe I'll make a shirt of that. Eat all the dicks. Yeah, that's another one Ash would say. Or consume a satchel. Thou shalt ingest a satchel of Richards. So, all right, let's keep moving here. We might as well get into the Nicki Minaj stuff, since Harry Enton invoked Nicki Minaj in that clip. Here you go. This was from the Grammys, which, by the way, the Grammys got crushed, man. They lost like 20+% viewership. They got absolutely crushed this week.
John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby. Jennifer Hudson is in the house.
All right. So, unpack a couple things. It's not lost on me that you got John Legend and Chrissy Teigen sitting right behind Trevor Noah as he's saying all that. Chrissy Teigen with pizza on her chest and ranch all over her face. That Chrissy Teigen. A lot of unusual things involving pizza, pasta, and Chrissy Teigen. Girls in tiaras, put me in jail now, looking sexy. You never describe a 4-year-old as sexy. Never. But she did. It's not lost on me that those are the two that are right behind Trevor Noah as he is making fun of Chrissy Teigen. Or excuse me, of Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, in response, as they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed is the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that rises up against me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Watch. And then she started. The LGBT community has also started seeing through the veil, and it has them pissed off. Why are they getting the gay vote by default? They moved on from the gay vote to flying in people to vote for them. No loyalty to anyone. The gay community should be able to choose every 4 years like everyone else after the Democrats campaign to win your vote. They should not get your vote. Wake up. Nicki Minaj is tweeting this to 26 million people, ladies and gentlemen. She goes on. They are flying in immigrants to vote because they reneged on all of the promises that they made to African Americans and can no longer get the African American vote by default. They're causing distractions in the streets to distract from the billions they stole from taxpayers. Any Christian who votes Democrat again is a fool. They're showing people that it's okay to disrupt a church during worship. This is how they truly feel about you. The veil is lifted. No morals, no integrity. It's not enough for them to have an opinion. They've escalated to physical intrusion of places of worship. The demons inside of them are so bothered all the time. Are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story times, since I was trying not to say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing any album until my contract's renegotiated. And then she posts a picture of Aaliyah at age 15 with Jay-Z at 26. And then Beyonce, 27. Jay-Z was 27. Beyonce was 16. Aaliyah would tragically die in a plane crash on her way to the Bahamas. Nicki Minaj is not done yet. Trevor refuses to come out of the closet when everyone in the industry knows his boyfriend, allegedly, wearing the Nikki was right about everything hat. And then my favorite one, everyone knows Chrissy Teigen has/had a dick, allegedly. Savage, man. Savage. All of this needs to be revealed. All of this needs to be revealed, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And keep in mind, man, Nicki Minaj is, 26 million followers, intimately involved in Hollywood and the music industry and everything else. If there's anybody who knows where those bodies are buried, anybody who was brought into the club and, did the sacrifices and the rituals and everything else, you would think it would be Nicki Minaj. And for her to go full blast, man, I hope she follows through with this. I really do. And I think I was talking with Ash because, look, Nicki Minaj has been a controversial character, right? WAP. By the way, Trevor Noah, when he's saying WAP, I'm offended because I'm told that we have to be offended against blatant racism. And WAP is a racial slur against Italians. And as a Sicilian, Italian, American, second generation, I am deeply offended. I am deeply, deeply offended, Trevor Noah. And you used your platform at the Grammys to spread your vile racism towards Italian Americans. Man, I'm totally kidding because I'm not an insensitive little twat like Trevor Noah is and the rest of the Democrats. It's totally a joke. But that's how stupid they sound when they're like, oh, he accidentally posted a picture of Obama, a meme photo of Obama as a monkey. Guys, it's a joke. The other black people in there were Turtle and Timon, a prairie dog, or whatever that thing's called. It's not a prairie dog. What's the actual name? There were two other black people, Kamala Harris and Hakeem Jeffries, and they were not primates. It just happened to be that the image that was used was them as monkeys to start it, or primates. I think it was an orangutan and a gorilla, which, by the way, being a gorilla is pretty fucking badass. If I had to choose between being a human or a gorilla and all things were the same, I'm taking a gorilla. That dude can lift a car. A meerkat. Is that what it's called? A meerkat? Okay. A meerkat. There you go. I ain't no WAP. WAP. WAP stands for wet ass. The P word you can figure out, female genitalia. That's why, you know, that's kind of the Nicki Minaj thing right there, right? Nicki Minaj has a very contentious past with conservatives. However, I say this all the time, guys. I say this all the time. And Ash told me that she's found Jesus and she's putting her life together. And that is, God bless that. Never root against that, ever. And if somebody's being genuine in that conversion and that coming to the light, embrace that. Not only embrace that, but that is your greatest ally. It always is. I say this all the time when people are like, oh, he's a former Democrat. Former Democrats are the best conservatives out there because they've realized it's so much more difficult to cast off what you were and embrace something new. And that is the people that is when you become, in my opinion, those are the most avid fighters that you have. You know, when I look at the Badland, my colleagues in Badlands that were Democrats, and I look at them being able to have a perspective as a reformed liberal and still be able to maintain that perspective as a reformed liberal while looking at it. And I don't want to say they're conservative now, more libertarian. You know, I don't think Chris Paul would describe himself as a conservative. I think he would describe himself as a constitutionalist and a libertarian, small L, right? But and I don't want to speak for him, but I think he would say that that's a fair assessment. But those are the most loyal and most arduous, dogged working people that you will meet in a movement. And so embrace that. And so I look forward to Nicki Minaj continuing with the fire. Bring the fire. Now, the demons in Los Angeles during the Grammys had to continue, right? The ritual continues even after, right? So they're all in their little arena, all of them doing their ritual sacrifice. And I don't even watch the Grammys. So I don't even watch the clips of the Grammys. That clip right there is the only, oh, no. I lied. I saw two others. And you know what? I got to play it, man. I got to play it. I saw two others. I saw Bad Bunny, who the fuck is Bad Bunny? I saw Bad Bunny saying, hey, before I thank God or anything else, ice out. Yeah, shut up. But Jelly Roll, man. Let's watch this together. You want to talk about some good shit right here? Let's watch this together. So those are the three clips. I saw Jelly Roll, I saw Bad Bunny, and I saw Trevor Noah talking about Nicki Minaj. The only clip that's worth a damn is this one right here. And for those of you that don't know Jelly Roll's story, he went to prison. He's reformed. He speaks out now against prison reform. He speaks out against, just quality of life, man. He speaks out about getting your life together, finding God, and check this out.
I know they're going to try to kick me off here, so just let me try to get this out. First of all, Jesus, I hear you and I'm listening, Lord. I am listening, Lord. Second of all, I want to thank my beautiful wife. I would have never changed my life without you. I'd have ended up dead or in jail. I'd have killed myself if it wasn't for you and Jesus. I thank you for that. I thank you for my label, Broken Bow, Country Radio, baby. What's up, dog? Oh, Republic, John Manili, we did it, baby. There was a time in my life, y'all, that I was broken. That's why I wrote this album. I didn't think I had a chance, y'all. There was days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot cell. And I believed that those two things could change my life. I believed that music had the power to change my life and God had the power to change my life. And I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord.
You ain't nothing but a liar. Yeah, I walk right out the fire.
That's some good stuff right there. Jackie says, still don't know how to feel about Jelly Roll. Part of me doesn't think he's genuine. Yeah, I mean, very well could be, but the message is there, and a lot of people hear that. I watched him when he testified in front of Congress probably a year ago, maybe. I covered it, and if he's not genuine, he's still putting out a very good message and a very influential message. To get into somebody's character, I try to take people at face value. And so if he's saying it and he's reaching millions of people by saying it, his ulterior motives maybe, I don't know, it may be a ploy, and maybe trying to, I don't know, placate to the people. Who knows? But the bottom line is he's saying it. And that was a completely alternative message to what we are typically given, with Hollywood, right? And Hollywood embraces subtly, very subtle. They don't always openly, although they do sometimes openly embrace the devil and Satan, but they subtly embrace that lifestyle. And Jelly Roll is right out there. I love it. I love it. Jackie says, I do know that Bad Bunny is 1 million zillion trillion % not genuine. Fuck that fucker. Yes, I'm with you on that. I played the clip yesterday of all the NFL guys. Have you seen that one? Let me see if I can find this real quick. Sorry, I'm calling an audible here, and going into this, we'll probably start moving into the election stories. And but let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can find this clip. Thought this was a really good post. I'll share this with you guys. JB Pritzker said Donald Trump is a racist in response to that video. And I simply said, and you're an elephant. There you go. Take a joke, buddy. Take a joke. 183,000 views. That's pretty good, man. Here it is. Here it is. So this guy went and was asking NFL players at the Super Bowl, where Bad Bunny's going to be doing the halftime performance, because the Super Bowl is a DEI woke program that's trying to push some agenda that nobody knows who. Well, okay, I'm not going to say nobody knows, but Bad Bunny, really? I couldn't even tell you. I know the name because it's so absolutely, utterly retarded that somebody would name themselves Bad Bunny, right? Bad Bunny is like Space Jam character, right? I'm a bad bunny. That's what Bab says at one point, I think. Yeah.
Favorite Bad Bunny song?
You know nobody got one.
Favorite Bad Bunny song?
I don't know
nobody got one. Favorite Bad Bunny song?
I have no idea.
Favorite Bad Bunny song?
Don't know.
I don't have one either.
Favorite Bad Bunny song?
I don't listen to Bad Bunny like that, but she got some good stuff.
What is
I don't listen to Bad Bunny like that, but she got some good stuff. I don't know which one was better. The first guy that said nobody listens to Bad Bunny like that, or the guy that said she got some good stuff.
your favorite Bad Bunny song?
I don't listen to Bad Bunny, so I really don't even have one, man.
Right now on Kalshi, Bad Bunny has a 55% chance to sing Titi Me Pregunto as his first song. What is your favorite Bad Bunny song?
Ooh, Titi Me Pregunto.
I wonder, was he saying that Titi Me Pregunto to Aaron Jones? Hold on, let me see. I think he was.
Pregunto as his first song. What is your favorite Bad Bunny song?
Ooh, Titi Me Pregunto.
Oh, okay, so he did actually know that song, apparently. Maybe. Who knows? All right, let me pour some more coffee, guys. Okay, I got my coffee. Reload. Kid Rock, I don't trust either. Will not be tuning into either show. I won't be either. I'll be hanging out with friends and across the street and having a good time. So, yeah, but I will encourage them to put on the television the TPUSA show. Kid Rock, I mean, again, unless I have reason to believe that they're bad people, I'm going to accept their message and embrace their message. And I think that their message is beneficial to the movement until you have something negative that would refute that and show that they're, in fact, a disingenuous person. The other side of this, those people are very they're open about their shortcomings, their evilness. Huck Fillery, what you drinking? I am having Loaded Gun coffee. I told you guys, I'm not kidding around when I tell you I drink Loaded Gun coffee. And for Christmas, my wife bought me this mug that has a little heater thing right there, and it's glorious. My coffee stays hot all day long. As long as it starts hot. That's the only bad thing. It doesn't heat it up. It maintains its temperature. So if I leave that for like another 20 minutes, it'll get hot. But right now it's just kind of a little bit more than lukewarm. Okay, so let's get back into the news. So I was telling you guys that the demons come to the Grammys and the chaos follows them. This was Los Angeles the night of the Grammys.
Hello, Mark. So, yeah, there are still clashes with police right now. I'm going to go ahead and toss it to the package because there is profanity.
At nightfall, demonstrators clashed with LAPD once officers declared their assembly was no longer peaceful. Police officers in tactical gear formed a line pushing protesters away from the federal building that holds ICE detainees. Air 7 captured the moment protesters closed in on security guards, shielding themselves outside the building as the crowd threw trash and debris. During LAPD's order for the crowd to disperse, we met Marisol from East LA. She's here demonstrating for her family members who are undocumented and U.S. citizens and fear being detained by ICE.
We're expecting a change. We want to change.
What kind of change do you want to see?
It's insane the way people have been treated. You know, we're all human.
Oh, I'm here protesting because we want change. Well, what kind of change do you want? He broke her brain with that question. He literally, well, we're all human. Okay. You know how many humans live infinitely better than I do? Am I going to go start breaking down their doors and be like, hey, I want the billions of dollars that you have, Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos? I mean, that's just so stupid, man. These people, they don't actually know what they're doing. They just do it because it's the thing to do. They just do it because it's the thing to do. And that's the best thing you can do is expose these people for the utter retards that they are. They are lemmings to the sea. They are lemmings like Hakeem Jeffries on the back of Warthog Hillary Clinton. Or yeah, except that's not a lemming, that's a meerkat. But meerkats and lemmings are very similar, right? They look the same, kind of. They live in totally different continents, I believe, and lemmings jump off the cliffs and to their death. Lemmings to the sea, right? But anyways, the bottom line is it's just so stupid how these people have no idea what the hell they're even protesting. It's just the new thing to do. They're hoping that they'll get, something changed because it directly affects them. They have no idea about, the actual problems and results, consequences, the consequences of this mass immigration across this country, the amount of fraud that's being exposed right now and has been going on for decades, fraud that has put us $37 trillion in debt, right? Meanwhile, we have American citizens who are struggling every day because we have this type of tax burden. We have the barriers that it takes for an American citizen to get any type of help from the government, while these people are just basically walking over here and essentially getting it, right? They have NGOs that are out there showing them how to manipulate our system, and Americans are just getting screwed. So yeah, you can give me the crocodile tears and all that stuff. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, and nobody cares about you guys anymore. Sorry. I'm just telling you the truth. All right. The bottom line is go back, do it the right way. Go back home, do it the right way. President Trump has given you $3,000 to do that, to do it the right way. $3,000 and a promise that you can do it the right way still. We're not going to blackball you. We're not going to blacklist you and tell you that you can't come back. But you got to do it on your own. Go do it. NBC News, judge allows ICE's Operation Metro Surge to continue in Minnesota. Let's freaking go. U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez denied a request from Minnesota officials. This is Ellison, AG Ellison, Walls, and Frey together. This was the lawsuit they rolled out last week or 2 weeks ago, and we're bragging about it. Oh, we're suing the Trump administration because they don't have the authority. Yeah, they do, bitch. Yeah, they do. U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez denied a request from Minnesota officials for a temporary restraining order, despite acknowledging what she described as, quote, profound and even heartbreaking consequences for communities in the state. Profound and even heartbreaking consequences. I can agree with that. I'm still a human being. I still look at these people and I'm like, man, that sucks. Like I can be empathetic and also support the fact that they're violating our laws and they have to do it the right way. Doesn't mean we can't feel bad. It doesn't mean we can't look at some of these people that have been here for 5 or 6 years or even longer and have done something, wrong, whatever the case might be. They got rolled up in something that they shouldn't have gotten rolled up in, and now they're being deported. And I can be like, man, I really feel bad for you. I do. I'm a human. I still don't want anybody to suffer, but you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. So I commend this judge for not making an emotional decision or trying to find a loophole to permit the emotions to dictate her decision. She laid out her emotions and said, despite my emotions, he has the authority to do this. And that is a great ruling. The Eighth Circuit recently reiterated that entry or injunction barring the federal government from enforcing federal enforcing federal law imposes significant harm on the government, the judge wrote. Minnesota officials argued that the operation violates the Constitution's 10th Amendment by unlawfully pressing the state to change or abandon so-called sanctuary policies and cooperate more fully with federal immigration authorities. The 10th Amendment is only designed for laws and amendments and guidelines that are not outlined in the Constitution. That it is only for laws that are not explicitly outlined in the Constitution or in federal law. You cannot allow immigrants in your state illegally. The federal government, that is their authority. So the 10th Amendment has no weight in this. I still think we need to get to the point where we are going to get a definitive ruling that sanctuary cities and sanctuary states are unconstitutional. We haven't gotten there yet, and I don't know why it's taking so long, because that makes everything we're seeing right now significantly easier. But we haven't gotten there yet, and that's kind of strange to me. That's still kind of strange to me. Let's jump into this clip here, and we're going to play just about the first 4 seconds because this was so amazingly glorious. Check this out. This is the roadblock that was going down in Minnesota. Listen to what the woman says to start this.
We are literally creating a place that we know who's coming and going in and out of our neighborhoods.
What?
We are literally creating a place that we know who's coming and going in and out of our neighborhoods.
Oh, so people that aren't supposed to be in your neighborhood, like, illegals or foreigners from outside of your neighborhood that aren't supposed to be in there, you're making sure that they don't come in there. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Oh, so would you agree then that we should be doing the same thing down at the southern border? And we haven't been for the last 5 years, making sure that we know who's coming in and out of our country. Well, no, that's different because that's the whole country. I mean, macro to micro, right? One becomes the other. I mean, these people are so retarded, guys. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing. I kind of feel embarrassed for them. I want to play this clip here, man. This video is disgusting. This video might potentially outrage me more than John. No, not more than John Thune. Close, but not more. This is a preschool, I believe, in New York. And listen to the indoctrination of these small, precious children, 4 or 5 years old, 3 years old. Listen to this.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Canton. I am the director here at the Chloe Day School here in Harlem, New York. As today is a national day of protest for all the violent things that we're seeing happening across our city, here at the Chloe Day School, we learn about service and acts of service from Martin Luther King. And so to end our month of service, it's too cold outside for us to go outside and protest. Our teachers cannot walk off the job and leave our children unsupervised. So today, we decided in solidarity We will support all those who are out protesting against the violence that we see and the harm that we see happening to our friends. So some of our friends are going to share how they feel about what's happening and what they want to see happen in our government to change the harm that we see. So Sahad.
Before you go over to those little children, how about we just ask them the most basic, fundamental questions about our government? Who's the president of the United States? That one they'll probably get. Who was the last president of the United States? That one they probably won't get. Who is your representative or state senator or, U.S. senator for your state? That one they won't get. What are we're trying to teach these kids about government. No, you're not. You're trying to teach these kids how to be delinquent. You're trying to teach these kids that if they don't get what they want, you go out there and throw a hissy fit and break shit. This is indoctrination. This is the Frankfurt School. This is the communist takeover. And I know I am not a fan of using communist to describe everything. This is the Marxist playbook. This is the Frankfurt School playbook. I'm not a fan of it calling everything communist. I think that's something our government and our institutions have been doing for so long to justify the buildup of our intelligence community and the CIA takeover of numerous countries throughout the globe, mainly in South and Central America. However, there still is a Gramsci-style takeover of our institutions here in the United States, and it starts, right here in preschool. Watch this now as they indoctrinate these children to give predetermined answers that they have no freaking clue what the hell they're talking about, but these teachers are seeding this in their head, and this is just one day. I wonder how often this goes on in this school.
How do you feel about what's happening?
I feel all of it.
Right, and how do you feel? What did you tell us earlier?
I feel angry.
Because you don't like to see what?
I don't like to see people are hurt or taken away from their family.
Right. And so, Isabel and Amadi, what do we want to say? Stop the
hating.
Right. Okay, and my last three, Faith, Mariama, and Raya, what do we want to tell people?
Enough. Stop hurting people.
And what do we want to say as a school?
Enough is enough.
Ms. Shadira, would you like to share your thoughts?
My thoughts are united, we're powerful, our words are strong, kindness is free. Let's do the right thing.
Now, you don't need to share your thoughts. We just heard your thoughts being projected through 5-year-olds, you sick sons of bitches. Every one of those teachers is sick. Sick. I got nothing on that. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to get to my stories here in a second, ladies and gentlemen. I do have another sponsor that I want to talk about. And let's go ahead and talk about... All right. Sorry, guys. I got to get this pulled up, guys. Okay. All right, parents. This is great coming off of this segment. Real talk here for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming upon the American 250th birthday. Cannot wait. July 4th, baby. Let's go. 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government that the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters, not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began, who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why the ideas they fought for still matter today. This guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well that they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. If you care about raising kids who know where the country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something that you will want to grab. And the best part is it's completely free with this special offer. You just need to pay $2 for shipping and handling. Just head to freeusabirthday.com. Again, that's freeusabirthday.com. birthday.com and the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure that the next generation knows it. Oh, why is the video frozen? That's kind of weird. All right. Well, you guys heard the ad. It's important, guys. So you can go to freeusabirthday.com and check that out. And again, we just came off a video where we're showing preschoolers being told to go out and protest against something that's actively going on something they don't understand. They don't understand this. They're not being taught this, especially at that age. So now you go to something like Free USA Birthday, and let's get these kids the education. Let's teach them about our founding fathers. Let's teach them the history of this country. Right? So, again, freeusabirthday.com, completely free, $2. Well, not completely free, $2 for shipping and handling, right? To get it sent to you. Freeusabirthday.com, check them out. And let's jump over. So I was going to play this, but I don't think I'm going to play this clip because it's kind of redundant, but this is a school in Washington State where they were out protesting, and the mother went in. I'll play a couple minutes of it. So the mother went in to immediately pull her daughter out of school.
By the way, I'm making that known because I didn't honk. I pulled up to make sure everyone was okay. Absolutely not.
Did we already get your student?
Yeah. No, not yet.
I mean, we called for him and everything else? Okay. Will you go make sure? Who's your student? Just
Remington Gates, 7th grade.
From stairs to here?
Absolutely.
Yep, Maddie.
And I want to be escorted to there because every single student booed me because I pulled up here, rolled down my window. Is everything okay? What's going on? To run into this? I didn't honk. I parked as soon as I walked up.
Look out there in the window. You can see the kids. I mean, this is a school day. They're supposed to be in there learning, not going out and protesting.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a huge problem, guys.
It should be.
I cannot believe that my child is in this environment right now. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed as a parent and as an adult. Wow, I thought my kid was safe here.
They're very safe here.
No, they're not very safe here. You're letting kids go walk out in the public, outside of school grounds, just like this.
Being allowed to protest ICE agents.
I mean, you've got a bus here. Look at this bus here.
This is my daughter's middle school.
What's this bus on the left doing?
Being allowed to protest.
Right here. What is this bus doing? Are they moving kids? Are they taking kids out of school and moving them to protest someplace else? Or are they busing people in? We got to heads on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. I got somebody that sent me another school walkout. I got to read it this weekend. I've been busy with all this Georgia stuff. But I'll get to it. But this is apparently happening all over the country. These school walkouts, kids just going off and doing whatever the hell they want. Man. Speaking of the craziness, here's just kind of a good story, right? And not a good story, but we're gonna cleanse our palate here for a second. Comedian rips Minnesota venue after 6 sold out shows canceled over backlash to Renee Nicole Good joke. Fuck 'em. And this is Ben Bankus. A Minnesota comedy club abruptly canceled 6 sold out shows of his stand-up routine, igniting outrage. The Laugh Camp Comedy Club in St. Paul pulled the plug on Bankus' scheduled January 30th through February 1st performances after backlash erupted over jokes he made about Nicole Good. So comedy is very unique. Comedy, my grandpa was a comedian and a relatively well-known comedian. And comedy is one of those things where there's no holds barred. Anything goes. Sorry, that's just the way it is. If you're a comedian, I mean, George Carlin used to drop N-bombs up on stage. Nothing is off limits. And that's the way comedy is supposed to be. It is the one kind of environment where you can let loose and actually look at things with a comedic, I mean, it's comedy, right? You can laugh at things and you can be open to having a good time and I don't know, cleansing your soul of all the pent up anger and everything else, right? And look, people do it different ways. As long as you're not getting up there and like, you know, spewing this stuff and like everybody's doing like the Heil Hitler or something like that, then okay. But if you're laughing and making fun of both sides, and that's how it always happens. I very rarely see a comedian just attack one race and not turn the script on himself or on somebody else, or equal opportunity, you know, comedy. But you always got the one group of people, and as soon as they get made fun of, it's like the end of the world. It just ended. Like, you just ignored the 30 minutes where he made fun of everybody else, but you make fun of this one particular segment of the population and they freak out. And so this wasn't even like a racial joke or something. This was, you know, making fun of, I guess, Renee Good, the woman that got killed trying to run over a federal agent. I'm gonna do my little joke here. Oh, I don't have it on this one. I was gonna do the fuck around and find out board, but I don't have it on this one, so I can't. That kind of sucks. Damn. But here's a couple minutes of Ben Bankus. Let's make him famous. He's hilarious, by the way. He is hilarious. I've played him on Y Chromes on Badlands. He's a funny guy.
I just found out that my shows were canceled in Minnesota. Yeah, they were supposed to be next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We sold out 6 shows in Minnesota, and they canceled it because, honestly, I don't know why. Well, yeah, I mean, fuck them, obviously. Like, they wanted to cancel it last week, and then we were like, no, if you're gonna have to pay me. We just sold out 6 shows, so you fucking pay me if you're gonna cancel like that, right? And so they're like, they were pussying out because they got a weird, you know, a voicemail from a liberal being like, are you really gonna have a guy on your fucking stage that made a joke about fucking Renee Good?
Like, a lot of people are against, you know, ICE. Right? There's probably a couple in here. Oh, ICE. Oh, ICE is coming. Yeah, good. What do you want your tax money to go to? You want it to go to fucking feeding these people and housing them, or kicking them the fuck out of the country? What do you want? And it's fucked up because I'm an immigrant. Like, I'm Canadian, but like, I'm an American. I'm an immigrant, but I'm walking around like, you got to get rid of these people. I know where this leads. It leads to Canada.
Right for it.
All right, I want to jump to the last one right here. Probably this one. Yeah, right here.
They weren't really bothering me other than they were in my line. I'm just looking at them being like, what do they got? And then they did the move. They fucking unclipped from the general boarding line, screening line, and got in the priority line, which everybody fucking hates that. I mean, if they're wearing a burqa, you're like, I really fucking hate that. And the TSA guy was like, no, you can't do that. And then the woman just started speaking at him in her language. She was just like, you know how they sound. You've seen Star Wars. But the Democrats, the liberals, they'll live right in the crime. And then they'll open a coffee shop and buy the building and evict everybody in the building and gentrify the area. You know, what's over there? Oh, well, it's better than fucking shooting me dead. They lasted almost 9 minutes. Do they have a nose ring? Yeah, when they have those, it starts going off or whatever.
So watch this part, and this is the guy that got canceled. He's very funny. He's political, obviously, but he makes fun of everybody. I want you to notice something. All right. And I just picked this up now, watching it here. Watch the women as they're leaving. They turn around as if to say, like, who's noticing me? Who I need the attention. I'm doing this for attention. Who's noticing me?
They'll live right in the crime. And then they'll open a coffee shop and buy the building and evict everybody in the building.
Boom, right there. Turning around. Like, is anybody looking? Does anybody care? Oh my God. Do you care that I'm leaving? Is anybody going to ask me why? Because of the racist man up there? No, nobody's going to ask me. Well, maybe I'll stay. Oh no, my girlfriends are grabbing me. I got to go.
They can gentrify the area.
So pathetic. And they cancel them. Comedy, man. When you start canceling comedians, man, that's bad. That is bad. All right, where are we going to go next? Man, so you guys can't see what I'm doing on my computer over here, and I just had to close out 2 windows as we go through the shows, and I just closed out the John Thune. And my blood pressure immediately shot back up again, and I'm like, I want to tell that rhino piece of shit that he's a rhino piece of shit. AJP played a bunch of his clips, of this guy's clips last night. Who's AJP? AJP. I don't know who that is. AJP. Alex Jones Paulson? Ahmed. I don't know who AJP is. All right. You know what? Let's go ahead and get into my story, and then I'm probably going to wrap up with my story. I'm still dying to know who AJP is. Somebody tell me. Come on. Average Joe Patriot. Okay, there we go. I would not have guessed that. I thought it was initials for a name. Would not have guessed that. Awaken with JP. Oh, Awaken with JP is good. JP Sears is hilarious. I don't know who Average Joe Patriot. Maybe I'll check him out. I know Joe Likes America. Joe Likes America. That's my buddy. That's my boy. All right. So this is the big story. I'm not going to go through the story itself because, I can do this in like 2 seconds. You guys have all seen it. I've been on InfoWars twice, Stinchfield last night. We talked about it briefly on Why We Vote. We talked about it on Badlands Media. I was on DPH with it. I was on Lindell TV. I was on, I'm trying to think. Real America's Voice. What was the other one? Lindell TV. Viva Fry. I did a segment with Viva. All of them. So you guys know the story. David Perdue, sitting U.S. Senator, his transcripts get unsealed in the Trump RICO case. In those transcripts, he is testifying to Nathan Wade, of all people, that the director of the FBI, the GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the then director of the GBI, told Senator Perdue, United States Senator, that they're not going to investigate what Reynolds called compelling evidence. The GBI director said, yeah, this is compelling evidence, but I'm not going to investigate. I'm a team player. The governor does not want to investigate. We are not going to investigate. Vic Reynolds goes on to become a Superior Court judge in Cobb County. This is in line with 2 other people who refused to investigate. And thanks to Bob Couvert, we know now that Scott McAfee and Allison Sosebee were also promoted to Superior Court judgeships after, I'm not saying directly related, but after they stalled or outright stopped investigations into Brad Raffensperger and whether or not he performed the Pro V&V audit that he promised us. This is the work of Bob Couvert. I've reported on this many times. So that's 3 judges. Reynolds, former GBI director. Couvert found McAfee and Sosebee. Sosebee was a district attorney at the Appalachian Circuit. Notably, she's the only one out of the 3 that was a practicing lawyer / judge. She wasn't a judge, or judge. None of them were judges. She's the only one that was a practicing lawyer at the time. Scott McAfee was the inspector general for Georgia, and Vic Reynolds, the GBI director. So 2 guys that are not practicing law, they're in investigatory positions or leadership roles. Then I also found out, and I want to be clear on this, that it's not necessarily related to this, and it's not as well. So there was an appellate judge named Andrew Pinson who was appointed to the appellate court, sat on the court for a year, and then upheld a lower court's ruling that dismissed the Jeffords case that Garland Favorito was brought with voter GA. And that was Caroline Jeffords versus Fulton County, I believe. And this is the one where, or was that Juan et al? That might have been, I think, Favorito versus Juan et al. And Jeffords versus Fulton County. I get the names mixed up every once in a while. But either way, it was the Jeffords case that Pinson and the appellate court upheld the lower court's ruling, I believe. I'm trying to remember if that was the Amaro case. That was Henry County. No, I don't know. But the appellate court upheld the Jeffords ruling that they did not have standing to bring the case. Now, we know that that case ultimately went to the Georgia Supreme Court, and they said they do, in fact, have ruling community stakeholder, and sent it back down to the lower courts. Now, Andrew Pinson was on the appellate court when they said that when they upheld the standing ruling. Pinson gets promoted by Kemp shortly after to be a Supreme Court justice in the Georgia Supreme Court after just 1 year in the appellate court. Now, he also had to sit there recused from the case when the Supreme Court overturned his decision, the upholding of the lower court's decision. So it's kind of icing on the cake there. But again, I want to be clear. I was reached out to by somebody in the election integrity legal side of the ball, and somebody I trust very much in this thing. And they told me that I'm being a little harsh on Pinson, and that Pinson is a very intelligent justice, will do good things on the Georgia Supreme Court, and that may not have been related to the promotion. Now, I told this person, I said, hey, I totally get it. But at the same time, you can't ignore the circumstances of what happened. And this is a pattern. 4 judges now that are either promoted to a judgeship or promoted to, up in the judicial system in Georgia. And so I wouldn't get too worked up over the Pinson thing, but it's notable, right? So you've got 4 cases now where you have this circumstance going on. So yeah, that's the story. I reached out to True the Vote. I talked to Catherine Engelbrecht last weekend for an hour or so about this case and everything else. And it's concerning, man. Like the governor, and I think the main point I want to get across on this show right now is that where the fuck is the mainstream media on this? Where is the mainstream media on this? I've had tons of people reaching out for shows. I've got a couple more shows I'm going to be doing over the next, week or so about this, and more stories are going to come out. I'm not done. I've got more. But where is the mainstream media? You have now a U.S. senator, and let me just broad stroke this, right? Broad stroke this. U.S. senator testifying under oath that the then director of the GBI said that he's a team player, and if the government doesn't want to investigate, the governor doesn't want to investigate, that he won't investigate. This is despite him telling Senator Perdue that he believes the evidence is quote unquote compelling enough to be investigated. And they're not doing it. So Senator, GBI director, governor involved in this cover up. Now, granted, the senator's not involved in it. He's just being told this after encouraging it. The GBI director and the governor are involved in the cover up. So Perdue's a victim of it. And oh, by the way, this is the grand jury testimony, the special purpose grand jury testimony to indict a former president of the United States and the front runner for the GOP for the 2024 election. And the governor is of the same party of that front runner. And the media doesn't want to touch this. Why? I mean, I could take a couple guesses at this, but the reason I don't think they want to touch it is, one, they're complicit. They've been the ones that have been telling us for the last 5 years, no evidence of fraud, no widespread fraud. It's been looked at. It's been investigated. Everybody's gone through this. You guys are conspiracy theorists. You're fucking crazy. All of that. Two, this would justify everything that President Trump said that they misreported. They are complicit in this. They are accomplices in the cover-up and failing to do any type of journalism or show any type of unbiasedness in their reporting. They never once considered Donald Trump's perspective. They never once considered any of the evidence that we've brought forward that is now going to be coming out in droves. And they are backpedaling. Not backpedaling. They are trying to cover their asses. And so when you have sworn testimony from a special purpose grand jury implicating the then GBI director, who, by the way, benefited from that cover-up, it seems like he benefited. He's promoted a month before this special purpose grand jury goes on to a superior court judge, from the director of the GBI to a superior court judge, is telling a senator, by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. Senator Perdue is not the only person that's corroborated this story. Senator Perdue is just the only person that's done it under oath. This has apparently been a well-known secret in circles in Georgia. That GBI director, Vic Reynolds, was told by the governor not to investigate. Also notable is at the same exact time that Senator Perdue is being told this, at the same exact time that Senator Perdue is being told that Governor Kemp told us not to investigate, even though it's compelling evidence, Governor Kemp sent this letter, November 17th, 2021, 1 year and 2 weeks after, 54 months after the election. Governor Kemp's office sent this to the state election board. I write to refer the following matter to the board for its review and consideration. As you know, I called the Georgians with information about its inconsistencies. I called on Georgians with information about inconsistencies or complaints regarding the 2020 election to notify the proper state authorities. To date, the complaint outlined below is the only instance where a complaint has referred an issue to my office and provided all the requested information for me and my staff to fully evaluate its veracity. But if you go back to what Catherine Engelbrecht told me, she provided all the evidence. The FBI was going to help bring that evidence together for the GBI with maintaining chain of custody. They were going to set up a database so that GBI could maintain chain of custody on all that evidence. But they would not give whistleblower protection to their witness. They would not give immunity to their witness that was going to come forward with bank statements and everything that showed he was paid $45,000 to harvest ballots on the behalf of NGOs. Governor Kemp took this one little instance. Now, granted, it's a big deal. Joe Rossi's 6,691 ballots from the first count to the machine count, from the first machine count to the hand count, is a huge deal that has still to this day never been settled. But he says this is the one and only that has any veracity. Catherine Engelbrecht would freak out if she heard that, because she brought cell phone geospatial location data. And I know everybody says 2,000 Mules has been debunked. You have not seen the data that Catherine Engelbrecht and True the Vote have. The media has not seen. They saw Dinesh D'Souza's documentary. That's it. That's it. That evidence, that documentary would never be enough to bring the evidence in a court of law. But what they brought to the GBI was, and the director himself said it's compelling enough that it should be investigated, to a U.S. senator. And this is all going under the rug, right? This is all getting swept under. And the media, I just, you can't hate them enough. You cannot hate them enough. This is why the Washington Post is like, we're cutting a third of our staff. 300 people we're laying off. Good. You fucking deserve it. You deserve it. You've been lying and manipulating, propagandizing the people for so long. You deserve it. All of you. I had a one of the writers for the Washington Post, who's the Ukraine war contributor. She's like, I just got fired. I'm in Ukraine and I just got fired. Yeah, you're the Washington Post. You're part of the CIA propaganda that's been prolonging that war. You might do good work, you might, but you don't know if you don't realize that you're being handled when you're over there doing this. I don't know what to tell you. All right. So let's see. Where do we want to go next? Sidney Powell reposted my thing and said, she said this, my story on Purdue. Remember what happened on a highway in Georgia to a wonderful young man who was connected to Kemp, Loeffler, and Purdue? After all three called for a signature audit, run the timeline on Kemp's change of heart and add in the bogus dismissal of our 4 federal fraud cases. Yeah, you very well could. You very well could. And, Georgia is coming full circle now. Like the truth in Georgia will be exposed, and anybody that obstructed that, I will not rest until you are held accountable. I will not rest until you are held accountable. And I'll tell you guys, this. I have people that have told me that what I reported on has rattled the governor's office. And, that's all organic, guys, because this whole entire thing was done through Badlands Media, Gateway Pundit, and X, and you. It's all through you guys. We are the media now. We are the media. Nobody has picked this story up except my post on X, Badlands, and Gateway. And I'm writing more for Gateway because I didn't go all the way on Gateway, and that was for a reason. We are this close, guys. We honestly are this close. And my fingers are actually touching when I do that. But what's the theory that there's never actually any contact? Like there's always an subatomic level of gap between us. That's how close we are to blowing this whole thing wide open. What's that theory called? I'm curious. All right, so I'm going to continue on with this. I do want to talk more about this very story and address a little bit more. But before I do that, I want to talk about another sponsor real quick. So if you guys don't mind, I want to talk to you guys about Emerald Med. I want to tell you guys about a not well-known but incredibly powerful story. Sorry, my whole thing just like froze right there. So I apologize for that. Let me start this all over again. I want to tell you all about something that's not well known, but it's incredibly powerful. It's called Ace Manan. It's a compound from aloe vera that massively supports your body's stem cell production, cell health, and immune system function. That matters because your body replaces about 1% of its cells every day. As we age or have health issues, we produce less and less cells efficiently. The thing is, almost no aloe products have Ace Manan because it breaks down after harvest. And you can't get enough from eating raw aloe because of aloe's laxative compound. However, Emerald Med has created a stabilized Ace Manan supplement with the laxative compound removed. It's called Aloe RX. They made it for pharmacies, and now it's available to the public. I want to explain the value of Aloe RX. Stem cell injections can have amazing results, but they cost $10,000 to $40,000 a treatment. Aloe X isn't the same thing as stem cell injections, but it massively supports your own body's stem cell production for less than $100. You could literally give your body this for 16 years for the same price as one stem cell treatment. For people who don't need something extreme like stem cell injections but want to help their body significantly, this is arguably the best value on the market. The longer you take it, the more compounding that you have. I want to support a company that supports our channel and free speech with ads. If you want to, check out Emerald Med's Aloe RX. Click the link below to learn more and get 30% off Aloe RX today. All right. I did freeze for a second there. Did I freeze for the whole thing? I like Emerald Meds. They're a good company, man. Good company. Did I freeze for the whole thing? It might be something with the studio and the ads. I do also have a lot. Of windows open right now, so it could be that too. Let me clean up my windows real quick, and then I will jump right back in, and we'll get into some of the stories. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, I want to play this clip. I don't know if you guys all caught Why We Vote last night, but we've been talking, me and Ash have been talking about this James Collier piece, and she hasn't made it through the whole thing yet, but this is a fantastic interview done in 1996 by a guy that's been investigating election fraud for over 25 years at this point. So back in the 70s, he was investigating election fraud. And listen to what he says here in 1996. And this whole interview, you know, I know a lot of you guys listen to Why We Vote, and you can tell the chat here how much it's worth it to go back and listen to that. But listen to this clip here from James Collier in 1996.
One of the phenomena that people have seen across this country is like they don't have to rig an election if all their people are going to win. If they know it, nobody's running. Or
all their people are running.
Handpicked.
They own all the horses.
They own all the horses in the race. If a charismatic leader comes up and doesn't want to play the party game, like we did in Florida, and Susan Brenniker down there and various people, what they'll do is they'll let it run to see how you would have done. And if you're winning, and this is what people have seen across this country, probably in this state, the computer will break down. They'll tell you on television.
Yes, exactly.
And when it comes,
and it breaks down, and then everything. What happens then?
When it comes back, only that one candidate is turned around. They say, "Oh, we're going to get whipped." They turn it around, and that's it. And everybody goes to sleep. So, oh well, you know, they didn't notice this little phenomena. And yet, in every state, they've seen it, and it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
And the computer is broken down. We're not getting actual results. We're going to give you our projections.
Man, how prophetic is that? Does that not sound like, I don't know, Donald J. Trump? An outsider that refuses to toe the party lines, although he pretends, he placates enough to them to appear as though he's a Republican. Man, how freaking awesome is that? So prophetic. So prophetic. So before I get into, I told you guys I was gonna vent, right? I was gonna vent because there's some shit that I just pisses me off. Let's see. Let's just cover this real quick, because I mentioned it. Lizzie Johnson waking up without power, heater, running water, but the work in Kyiv continues. Warming up in the car, writing with a pen, ink freezes by headlamp. And if we go back, oh wait, maybe we can't go back. Yeah, we can't go back. Let's go back to here. Go to Lizzie Johnson, scroll down and see. There it is. I was just laid off by the Washington Post in the middle of a war zone. I have no words. I'm devastated. I mean, it sucks. I do feel bad for you because you very well could be a well-intentioned journalist. You could be a good person. I probably are a good person. You probably don't know that a lot of the stuff you're putting out is propaganda. You know, I would challenge you to a discussion about the history of Ukraine and how the Maidan color revolution took place and how, certain authorities in Ukraine were overthrown and whether or not it was USAID, National Endowment for Democracy, and our own CIA that did it, and why you're over there continuing to support the military industrial complex and the intelligence industrial complex in Ukraine. I don't have much sympathy for you guys or anybody at the Washington Post. You guys are liars. A lot of you guys are flat out liars. Now, a lot of you guys are manipulated and you don't know you're lying, but you only talk about authoritative sources. Again, I got a story for you. I got a huge story for you. There's a U.S. senator who testified under oath that the director of the GBI was told by the governor of a swing state to shut down an investigation that led to the indictment of a president. You can't fucking make that up. You can't make that up. Like if I went to a journalist like at New York Times right now and I was like, hey, I've got a story where a senator, a U.S. senator, is saying that he was told that an investigation into the president that would have put the president, gotten him impeached immediately, was shut down by a Democrat governor. What? A Democrat governor? Yeah. A Democrat senator was trying to get President Trump impeached. A Democrat senator, U.S. senator, was trying to get President Trump impeached and removed, and a investigator with the California Bureau of Investigations was told that you're not going to investigate this by Gavin Newsom, a Democrat. A Democrat shut down an investigation that would have led to President Trump's impeachment and removal. The New York Times would be they would be on that story so fast. But because the roles are reversed, no thank you. No thank you. Trump is right on this one. That's telling. That is the mainstream media right now. Anybody disagree with that? Does anybody disagree with that? If I went to the New York Times and I told the New York Times I have sworn testimony that a Democrat senator had information that would have gotten President Trump impeached, but the director of the California Bureau of Investigations shut it down because he was told by Gavin Newsom to shut it down, the New York Times would have died for that story. But because it's a Republican senator being told by a GBI director that the Republican governor wanted to shut down the investigation that would have exonerated President Trump and verified that President Trump was correct, they don't give a shit. That's how broken our system is. I redid that again specifically because I want to clip that, and I'm going to put that out on X. And I hope you guys will all go to X in an hour or two and share that when I post it, because I'm going to post that to X. All right. The last thing I want to cover, man, and again, this is a point of personal privilege here to cover this. There's only a couple things to me that are really, really important. Okay. And one of those things is my integrity. All right. Am I right all the time? No, I'm not. Do I do my best to be right? Yes. Do I care about political slants? Not as much as people would think. People, they'll tell me I'm a partisan and all this stuff all the time. Not as much as people think. So when I see a thread like this, and bear with me for a second, and I don't even want to highlight the person that put this thread out because I don't want people to follow them. I don't want people not follow them, but I don't want people to go and heckle, right? We proved our point with the Stinchfield thing. Stinchfield took my story, Badlands story, put it out there on Real America's Voice, didn't credit it, and he made it right. Okay. Hat tip to Real America's Voice and Stinchfield for coming out and doing that. That was incredible. That's good. That's good. There's a lot of work that went into that story. A lot of work. Like you guys think I just sat down and it's a matter of typing it. No, I had to read 103 pages. I had to recall all this stuff that I had in my memory from past reporting and everything else, and then package it all together. It's a lot of work. It's a little more than, watermarking a video that I clipped. Okay. That's tit for tat type shit. But so when somebody puts this out, basically, and this is directed right at me, right? Is it this one specifically? No, hold on. It's not this one. This wasn't the one. Okay, so the Pinson story that I came out with, somebody says, Bob Couvert, are you going to give him credit? This is not new news. Okay, no, I never said it was new news. The new news was that there's a fourth judge now that has been implicated in this whole story. The whole, Georgia governor paying for play, basically. Man, I'm kind of. So then we got this one here. Yes, but CannCon is not giving credit where credit is due. In this story here, this is the only thing that I talked about. This is the only thing that I talked about. The old story that I was just informed that it's no longer just 3 people who thwarted election investigations that subsequently received lucrative judicial appointments. That's the only thing. Everything else I'm going to talk about here was handed to me by somebody else, not Bob Couvert. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Bob Couvert and the work that Bob Couvert has done. So, you know, when I get told that I'm not giving credit where credit is due, and then they put out another thread that's passive aggressive where it's like, everybody's stealing his work now. Where is it? Bear with me, guys. I know this is tit for tat, childish shit, but I'm going to make a point here. All right, where the hell did it go? Maybe they deleted it after I called them out. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Well, they basically said, like, everybody's stealing this guy's... Oh. Here's another one here where I said, yeah, I did give him credit. And this was the article I wrote where I mentioned him like 5 more times. Nope, not enough. Not by a long shot. Couvert was the one who texted Kemp. Couvert worked with Kemp's office. Couvert worked with the IG, blah, 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 blah. Basically, to reduce his work to a few open records requests at best is disingenuous at best. So let's just go ahead and look in here and let's see how many times I said Couvert's name. Well, I mentioned Couvert 4 times in my article. All right. Oh, I realize I'm not sharing this. According to Georgia resident Bob Couvert, who facilitated the open records request, Raffensperger included the results of his audit in a 10-page letter to Congress. Okay. Couvert claims he took evidence of 28 instances of fraud to Governor Brian Kemp and worked with Evan Myers, Governor Kemp's executive deputy counsel. IG McAfee said he could only go after one allegation, the claims that an audit never took place. Couvert claims that when he gave McAfee that evidence, that the audits did not take place. McAfee stopped talking to Couvert. Couvert also claims, and I said he, not Couvert, I use pronouns. He also claims he went to Allison Sosebee, then director, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think it's a little more than just saying he did open records requests and found that it never happened. So again, I know I'm being so like childish with this, but guys, you got to be better than this, you know, and I'm going to show you why I'm doing this, because you can get more with honey than you do with vinegar. And so I put this thread out in response, and I'm being totally childish here. I understand that. All right. So they said, yes, but CannCon is not giving credit where credit is due. And I said, well, let's see if this is true. This is a big accusation since I do everything I can to keep my integrity above reproach. Here's a clip to my hit on InfoWars on Thursday with Brianna Morello. And Brianna Morello, excuse me. And let's play that clip. There's 2 other judges that were in their previous roles involved in this, you know, kind of obfuscation of election investigations. And there was a gentleman named Bob Couvert that did an investigation into the Pro V&V audit that Brad Raffensperger claimed they did following the 2020 election, and found out that no, they actually did not do an audit. They sent, you know, Pro V&V to these 6 counties, and Bob Couvert, through open records requests, found that none of those 6 counties had a record that that they did any audit there. And so Couvert took this to the governor. The governor said, well, take this to the inspector general. The inspector general says, we have 28 claims here. I can only investigate 1. I'm going to investigate the claims that this Pro V&V audit didn't take place. So Bob sends him all the documents that he has, and the inspector general ghosts him after that. Then Bob takes it to the district attorney for the Appalachian Circuit, a woman there, and she looks at it and does the same thing, ghosts him. Both of those people would go on to get appointments to the superior courts in Georgia. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Bob Couvert's name at least 4 times in that, told his story, gave him credit for the entirety of that investigation. But that's not enough. I mean, what more do I have to do at that point? I'm really sorry. Let's keep it going. You know, we just read through the Badlands media piece that I wrote where I mentioned the whole story about him. And I cite him for everything that he did. I'm telling the story. I'm putting the story together. Couvert is a chapter in that story. His investigation is a chapter. Now, they're like, oh, well, he's done way more than just open records requests. Well, okay, that's fine. That's not what I'm writing about. What I'm writing about specifically, I gave him credit the whole way. And for you to sit out there and smear my name and tell me that I'm not giving credit where credit is due and that I'm trying to like take credit for this, is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. Then what's even funnier, and this is I can't understand this. In response, they reposted that and said, "Thank you, CannCon, for pointing out Covert's work. You were just yelling at me, not yelling at me, but you were just disparaging me on other posts." And this happened like 4 times. Like, this is not something new. Like, this isn't just one isolated incident. There's like a whole thread of people attacking me over this story because I'm not citing people. I've never claimed. The only thing that I did is I read the transcripts and found the Purdue GBI thing. And I had an inkling that where to look for that. So and that person, it is what it is. So of course I respond. And, I'm just going to say this. This is my response. This was a swift capitulation from accusing me of improper citations just 24 hours ago. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. There's no doubt that your work is important. They do voter roll work. I know who this person is. I've had them on my show before. They do voter roll work. There's no doubt that your work is important, but accusing one of maybe 3 journalists that has worked doggedly on elections, and Georgia specifically, of plagiarism and inadequate sourcing, especially when it's not true, is a terrible approach. There's only 3 journalists I know of that write extensively about Georgia. That's myself, Wendy Strzok-Mahoney, Heather Mullins, Brianna Lyman broke the big Federalist story, but I don't know that she's like exclusively, and the AJC, of course, but they're talking heads for the establishment. I mean, you're going to fight your own here. I'm sure there's probably somebody I'm forgetting. I know there's a few others. I know L. Todd Wood has done a lot in Georgia earlier on. But as far as like journalists that still are on the Georgia beat, like constantly, I mean, me and Wendy are about it. I mean, anyways, I don't want to piss anybody off. And if I forgot a name that's writing about Georgia constantly, I apologize for missing you. Hit me in the DMs because I want to be friends with you. There's no doubt your work is important, but accusing one of maybe 3 journalists that has worked doggedly on elections, and Georgia specifically, of plagiarism and inadequate sourcing, especially when it's not true, is a terrible approach. My DMs are open. I follow you, which means I see when I'll see it when I check my DMs, which is not often. Perhaps sending a DM in private to air out your grievances is a more tactical approach. We could try and get more eyeballs than 535 views on your work and move this process of exposure along faster. I have the longest running election integrity show that I know of, and on a large platform. I'm a better friend than an enemy. I'll let my colleagues Ash and anyone else that I've worked with tell you about my character, my integrity. Trying to belittle me and drag my name through the mud is not an effort that benefits anyone in this fight. And you go look at that person's Rumble, and they have like 100, 200 views. That's the most they have on that I saw is 535 views. Just reach out to me and be like, hey, I've got some great stuff. Can I come on your show to talk about it? Rather than try and disparage me falsely, telling me I don't cite the guy. I said his name 5 fucking times. How much more do you want me? You want me to show a picture? It just pisses me off, man. Like, you have people that are attention whores. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's got to be me. I don't care, man. If you do something, cite my work. If you take something I did, like the Purdue story, cite my work. I don't care. Get it out there. I could care less where it goes. But don't ever accuse me of stealing somebody's work and saying that I didn't cite them. If I don't cite somebody, guys, it's because that person doesn't want to be cited. All right. I think that's all I've got. I do want to talk, guys. I do want to talk about my sponsor. And you guys know that I am a big time, and I'll close the show out. I still got a little bit more to go through, but you guys know that I'm big time into precious metals. And most of you know that I believed in them for a long time, especially silver. I've said that over and over again, but whether you lean silver, gold, or both, the issue right now is purchasing power. Oh, why is that? What the fuck? That was weird. Like, videos just started auto playing. That was the one that Liberty Lion made. That was really weird that just started auto playing as I'm doing my ad here. But when you guys, whether you lean silver, gold, or both, the issue right now is purchasing power. That's the part that people miss. Everything costs more: groceries, utilities, insurance. And that same retirement money, well, it doesn't stretch like people think it does. A lot of retirement accounts are still tied completely to paper assets, stocks, bonds, and dollars. That's fine until your purchasing power keeps getting chipped away year after year. Then people realize that they're more exposed than they thought. And that's why some people look at gold and silver inside of retirement accounts, not to trade, not to speculate, but just to diversify a portion and reduce risk. If you want to understand how gold and silver IRAs actually work, the rules, the structure, what you can and can't do, there's a company called Augusta Precious Metals that focuses on education first. No hype, no pressure. This stays inside of your IRA or 401k. No taxes, no penalties. You're not moving everything. You're learning how this works. If you want to dig into it, click the link in the description below or text CannCon to 35052 to get the free gold and silver IRA guide. Get informed first and then decide what makes sense for you. Text CannCon to 35052. And I went ahead and put that tab up there in the description down below. You guys know I'm a huge silver guy. All right, so we're going to jump into the video in DM. Oh, Liberty Line sent me an update. Let's check this out. Here we go. Let's get it. Let me show you guys the original first, too. So we'll keep going here for another second. Sorry. I had like one of my beard hairs went up into my nose. It's like the most annoying thing, like your beard or your mustache. It went up into my nose and I was going to have to sneeze. Yeah, let's see. All right, so this is what I'm looking at. Give me 1 second. I'll get it pulled up here. Oh, you even watermarked it for me. You're my hero. But I got to give you, did you watermark it for yourself too? All right, so just to show you guys, this is what Hakeem Jeffries originally posted.
Video posted by the so-called president was done intentionally. Donald Trump and his vile, racist, and malignant behavior.
Okay, so you guys can see we're not making up the words that are being said. We're just making up the cartoon that's being said. And so here it is. I think Liberty Line's going to have nailed it on this one. Oh, you did watermark it at the bottom. Thank God. All right, here we go.
This disgusting video posted by the so-called president was done intentionally.
Trump is racist.
Donald Trump and his vile, racist, and malignant behavior.
Trump is a Nazi.
This guy is an unhinged bottom feeder. President Obama and Michelle Obama are brilliant, caring, and patriotic Americans. They represent the best of this country.
Trump is racist.
It's time for John Thune, Mike Johnson, and Republicans to denounce this serial fraudster who's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue pretending to be the president of the United States.
Trump is a Nazi.
This disgusting.
You nailed it, brother. You nailed it. That is epic. I will have that posted here very shortly. Follow me on Twitter or X, formerly Twitter, at CannCon. I'm going to have that shared here in just a second. Liberty Lion, give him a follow as well. Liberty Lion, what's your handle on there? I know it's not the Liberty Lion. Hold on. US Liberty Lion. Give him a follow. He's been a long time on the show. At Lion Liberty, excuse me. He's at Lion Liberty on X. Go give him a follow. I'm going to have that video up here as soon as the show's
Trump
over.
Is racist. Trump
this
is
disgusting
Trump,
video.
Trump is
by the
racist.
so-called
Trump is
president.
racist.
Okay, I got to close that whole tab because it just keeps auto playing thanks to the background there. Oh, man. Great job, Liberty Lion. Great job. I can always count on him, man. Been here forever. I texted him like before the show started, maybe an hour before the show. I was like, hey, can you do this and make this speech with Timon on Puma's back? And he came through before the show began. Let me jump into rants. I know we had a couple rants. Oh, wow. We got some rants here. Thank you guys so much, man. This is awesome, dude. Like, you have no idea. This makes this whole time. I mean, it always makes it worth it, but this is exciting. Denise Ann, yes, I finally started a trend. CannConians unite. Also, my boss got me into baking sourdough. I can't believe I never did it before. Sourdough has always been my favorite. I love sourdough. So I am dying for Christina to get it dialed in, and she'll get it. She'll get it if she hasn't already. And I'm waiting for those sourdough cookies. Blue Demon 75, the man, the myth, the legend, CannCon, the election czar. What am I going to do when we actually, we're never going to fix elections. James Collier's he was at it since the 70s, and in 96 he was still, so we can only make them better, and we're making leaps and bounds, guys. We've got more momentum at the backs right now than we ever did. One of these days, I'm telling you, mark my words, one of these days you're going to see me on like a Patrick Bet-David or a Dan Bongino or a Tucker Carlson talking about elections in a way that they have never heard. They've never heard elections talked about like that. And yes, I'll cite everybody's work because it's not anywhere near all my work. So yeah. It's May 60. Had the wrong incident. This is from 2019 list, Dayton PD. First, Louis Oglesby, 27. 2, Derek Fudge. 3, Logan Turner, 30. I'm assuming that's the order. Okay, interesting. I think there were 9 people total that were killed in that. I've got to dig into that more. Thanks for reminding me, though, Smay, because I might not have seen that otherwise. Archie Joan, thanks for this Saturday recap, Brian. Excellent. Make sure to take time for yourself. God bless. I got my family here, so we're going to have it's my nephew's birthday today, so we're going to go out and have a birthday party for him tonight. So I'll get some time. Aeolus. I really appreciate your Saturday show. Thanks, brother. And fuck Newscomb. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. G Fontes 119. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen for her children. If her children was taken off campus without a permission slip being signed by a parent guardian. I agree, especially if they're like outside and it's not like a sanctioned event. Like, you can't tell me that it's appropriate for school children to go outside and protest in the middle of the day. That's bonkers, right? With all the mass shootings and everything else going on and all the retardation that we have from people when there's like a 0.0000001% chance of that actually happening, but they still freak out about taking our guns, and then they just parade them out in a hostile environment, like going out there and having them protest where there's going to be factions that are against each other. You're putting kids in the line of fire if something were to happen. And we saw the video the other day. Now, whether or not they're trying to implicate MAGA in this, but they show a kid out in the middle of the street and a car that has a MAGA flag runs the kid over. Is it by accident? Probably. Is it a real, MAGA person that has the Trump flag? Probably not. It looked totally staged. But either way, a kid was hurt, and they're going to blame MAGA for it. Now, I don't care who they blame. I'm talking about the kid being hurt. Putting kids out of school and making them go out there and protest something that is a contentious topic, you are opening up recipes for disaster. You are opening up violence from some radicalized individual from one side or the other, whether it's organic or not, to go out there and commit a violent act against children. So don't spare me the bullshit about taking your guns away so that school shootings go away. You're putting them out there in the middle of the schoolyard and provoking this. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Jacob 45 Allen, I just found out my ex-wife kept our 18-year-old home from school on the day that her school had a walkout in Central Arkansas. I think that's a good thing. My ex-wife kept her 18-year-old home from school on the day that they had a walkout. I think that's a good thing. I think that's probably what you're applying, Jacob, but I'm with that. Don't participate. But it's unfortunate that school is being used as a political agenda openly, rather than as a learning institution. And that delegitimizes our schools. G Fontes 119, need to get you back on Wendy Bell Radio now on noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. I am so down. Hit me up, Wendy. I mean, I have a lot of people that I'm friends with in these spaces now. I'm just not very good at going out there and trying to, like promote myself. I'm not a self promoter. I let my work speak for itself. And if it speaks, it speaks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. My DMs are always open though. Like you're more than welcome to DM me and I will go on any show, you know? I mean, I got to take, like I said, I got to take some time for myself and all that, but I am not, I'm available. And I'll have more coming out. I'm telling you guys, I'm not done. I'm not done. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Please check out the sponsors down below. MyPillow.com, promo code CannCon. SoftDisclosure.com, promo code CannCon. If you're interested in diversifying your retirement or getting gold and silver, text CannCon to 35052 and support the show. Help us out. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Please share this out. Smash the thumbs up on your way out. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. I will be at some point this weekend. I will be doing a premium user only. I'm back on the creators program on Rumble, so I can do the premium only. It's going to be just a fun show. I play video games and talk shit. That's it. That's it. I go into some rants, maybe talk political. There's lulls in between games, and so I'll talk to the audience and all that stuff, but it's for premium only. I have to do 5 hours a month. I have to. So otherwise, all my content's always free. I don't put anything behind paywalls, but this is one case where I have to. So that's what I'm going to do, and we're going to have some fun. And I will, anybody that's a monthly supporter of the show and a premium supporter, you guys can come in and watch and hang out and shoot some shit. And that's all I got, guys. Stay frosty. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. Make the fortune cookie country pay for this.